get these lights on by request of the president?
That's better.
Now I know the secret location.
Good evening and welcome. We are going to reconvene open session as soon as we adjourn closed session. Is there a motion to adjourn closed session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we have open session is reconvening at 7:04 p.m. Tonight we have a full school board meeting, but first let's have Dr. Ernest Garcia, elementary school 5th grade student Daniel Munoz, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, Rialto Unified School District members. My name is Danny Munoz. On behalf of Dr. Ernest Garcia Elementary School, it is an honor to be here with you this evening. We will begin by saluting our flag for the opportunities our country offers to the youth of America. Let's say our pledge of the flag, the emblem of our nation. Please stand, direct your attention to the flag, and join me in the salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Welcome.
Very inspiring. Thank you.
Great job, Danny. And now the Garcia Grizzly cheerleaders, led by 4th grade teacher Ms. Stephanie Garcia, will be highlighting a performance cheer that has earned them first place in 2 local competitions. Take it away, Grizzlies.
Ready? Okay.
Sorry. Because if I press play, I'll get stuck. Press play on the on top.
You can come around this
Yeah,
way.
sorry, I didn't know if I
Yeah,
could-
no problem.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
The Board of Education and Superintendent would also like to thank the parents and administrative team at Garcia Elementary School for attending and supporting our students tonight. Thank you. Okay, do we have a report out of closed session?
Yes, we do, Madam President. We have one item. The Board of Education accepted the administrative appointment, Andrea Roman, as elementary principal. The roll call vote was unanimous.
Thank you. And before we move on to adopting the agenda, the following correction needs to be made. On page G 1.6, or on reference G 1.6, add the last name of Benson to Dwayne of Columbia Steel. It's supposed to be Dwayne Benson of Columbia Steel. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Discussion.
Also, can we have this?
Oh, we have some items to pull?
Yes, I'd like to pull two items, Madam President. Items K5 and item K6. Would like to withdraw those from the agenda.
Okay. Everybody have that, K5 and K6?
So we will strike item K5 and K6. I make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda with the corrections made. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we're going to move on to presentations, and first we have our DSAC High School report, so I will turn it over to Natalie, our student board member.
So first up is Edward Ortiz from Rialto High School.
Good evening, Honorable Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Avila, and viewing audience. My name is Edward Ortiz, and I'm the proud ASB president from Rialto High School. And in the spirit of February and all things love, I would like to express to you all the things I love about my school. I love that our boys basketball team finished the season off with an undefeated season and back-to-back league championships this year. Among the other sports teams that made it to CIF playoffs this year are girls basketball, girls soccer, and we are sending 2 wrestlers to the Masters tournament this Friday. We're also proud of our varsity cheerleading squad as they won their 4th straight state championship. With the tremendous success we had with winter sports, we Knights are anxiously awaiting to see what our spring season has in store. I love that Rialto High is succeeding in the classroom as well as on the court. Every year we have taken home awards from the annual district science fair and have gone on to the county and state levels. I'm proud to announce that this year was no different, as we had 16 student scientists receive awards at last week's district science fair. We're also proud of our NJROTC group that held their 23rd annual military inspection last Friday. In the words of our beloved Commander Jones, it was outstanding. I love that Rialto High not only has amazing students and parents, but also amazing staff. This month, it is my pleasure to congratulate Ms. Jenny and Ms. Ronay as our February Employees of the Month. On behalf of all the students at Rialto High, I'd like to say thank you for all the hard work both of you do for all of us. And before I conclude, I would like to express how much I love being a Knight. Although every school in the Rialto Unified School District is great in its own special way, I personally believe there's no better school to attend in the district than Rialto High School. Thank you for all of your time, and have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.
Next is Alexis Rodriguez from Carter High School.
Good evening, Honorable Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Avila, and viewing audience. My name is Alexis Rodriguez, and I am the DSAC Commissioner for Carter High School. Lots of exciting things going on at Carter. Yesterday was our freshman orientation, in which it went very well. Casera, Kolb, and Rialto all came to see the club, sports, and organizations that Carter had to offer. We gave the current 8th graders a tour of our campus and allowed them to check out our art department. Our spring rally is just around the corner. This rally's theme is Star Wars. We are putting together amazing decorations and games for the students to enjoy. We have been getting ready for our blackout dance this Friday, February 26th. It is a formal attire and all students will be wearing either black or white. We invited DJ Will and Famous Uno to make our dance a great experience. So, if you're not busy this Friday, you should come on down to Carter's blackout dance. Our school, Carter has announced our class of 2016 valedictorian and salutatorian. Our valedictorian is Dad Ali, and standing beside him is our salutatorian Elizabeth Ojeda. Our school is very proud of these distinguished scholars whom will be leading our class of 2016 at our graduation on June 4th. Thank you and have a great night.
Thank you.
Lastly is Emily Mendez from Eisenhower High School.
Good evening, Honorable Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Avila, and our viewing audience. Eisenhower is known to be a very generous and successful campus. Successful why? I'll give you a couple of reasons. We've had a successful blood drive with over 100 participants. Many of our students have successfully signed up and donated over 3 pints of blood and have saved either 3 babies or one adult. And with over 100 participants, imagine how many people we saved. And Pennies for Patients, which is a fundraiser Eisenhower hosts, has raised more than $680, and that's not even halfway through our fundraiser. And another thing that is going on campus, our King's Ball is March 12th, which is also known as the Sadie Hawkins Dance, which is a glow-in-the-dark and our costume theme. And this week we have our Avid Week, which is promoting and celebrating Avid, helping students commit to go to college. And our campus beautification is on March 13th from 2:30 to 5 p.m. And staff can sign up with their club, sports, class, or organization. And basically what we're going to do there is we're going to repaint the classroom doors. We're going to clean the gym mat, repaint the gym lockers, and we also need to paint another Ike mob on our campus. And clean the insides of the classroom doors, clean the windows inside classrooms. And we have a lot of a lot of generous things that are happening at Eisenhower High School. And to conclude, thank you very much and good evening. Good night.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on with the REA, CSEA, and RSMA employees of the quarter. And we will start with REA, who is going to be presented by Mr. Martinez.
Good evening, everyone. Would Mr. Armando Urtiega come join me, please?
I'm sorry, that's RSMA.
Oh.
That's okay, you're up there now. We'll do
I'm
it.
up there. Yeah. Okay. Tonight, the Board of Education announces Rialto Schools Managers Association Employee of the Quarter, Mr. Armando Artiega. Born in Los Angeles, Mr. Urtiega grew up in Montebello and lives in Whittier. He is the oldest of 6 children, also has 2 stepsisters. Mr. Urtiega graduated from Montebello High in 1990. Just a baby. Yeah. He earned his bachelor's degree in kinesiology in 1995 from Cal State LA, and later his master's degree and credential in school administration from the University of Laverne in 1998. Mr. Urtiega started as a science and PE teacher in the El Rancho School District in Pico Rivera in 1996. He began his administrative career as assistant principal in the Los Nietos and Linwood districts in LA County. He was hired as an assistant principal at Eisenhower in 2009, then transferred to Rialto High School. 5 years ago, he was promoted as a principal of J. Hugh Middle School. I remember that. Good times. My goals are to emphasize school culture by building on positive relationships and high expectations, educating well-rounded students, all while using a sense of humor, common sense, and the power of self-reflection as keys to success. Smiled Mr. Urtiega. Give us that smile. There we go. Mr. Urtiega earned the Superintendent's Quarterly Award for leading JHU amongst all secondary schools first semester with the highest overall GPA of 3.15, highest student attendance rate, and lowest student suspension rate. The 18-year school administration veteran is also nominated this year for the AXA Middle School Principal of the Year for Region 12. Wow, you're on the move, my friend. Mr. Urtiega was elected to the East Whittier School Board in 2005. He has served 11 years, is in his third term, and has been voted as president of the board for a third time. He also serves on CIF, State Appeals Board, which oversees all athletic appeals in the southern section since 2009. Is your family here? Lupe, would you join us, please? He married his wife, Lupe, in 2003. Lupe, who is an elementary teacher, and Mr. Urtiega are parents to 3 sons. Are they here? No? As my son used to tell me, that's their job. Twin boys, Isaiah and Aaron, 3 years old, and son Adam, 1.5 years. On his spare time, he enjoys spending time with family, being an avid LA Angels fan. Good choice. Playing guitar, collecting baseball cards, watching sports, and listening to music. Mr. Armando Urtiega was selected by his peers for instructional leadership, student academic performance, strong parental support, all while making JHU Middle School a great place to be, said Melissa Rubio, the district PBIS coordinator, who nominated Mr. Urtiega. He has tirelessly volunteered on the district's performing arts gala, putting on the Ritz show for 7 years running. Armando also creates a leadership residence at JHU that boosts teacher performance and improves instruction for students. His impact on school climate is strongly positive, and he knows how to grow people into high performers. RSMA President Dr. Monty Stewart added, "I have noticed that Armando practices leadership that promotes betterment of students' lives and the overall education community. He treats colleagues fairly and is deeply passionate about student learning, so he is very deserving of this district recognition. Congratulations, Mr. Urtiega."
Mr. Martinez's mother is here.
Okay. You want to go up? Yes, absolutely. 2 pretty ones.
One second.
Have my cheat notes here really quick. Thank you, Board of Education and Superintendent Avila, for allowing this to be on the agenda tonight. As we know, running a school is not a one-person job. It takes a team, it takes a village. And I do want to recognize those people because it's very important to me to recognize also the people who I work along with. I'd like to recognize the leadership team at JHU, who do a great job making sure our school is really shines. My teachers and staff do a great job to really make sure JHU is on top, and they do the many great things at our school. I'd also like to recognize our students. Our students are well-rounded, career-ready students, and we're preparing them for high school and college, so I'm very, very proud of our students. I also want to give a special thanks to my secretary, Myra, who keeps me on the ball, keeps me out of trouble, keeps me on time, most of the time, and it does work very, very hard. I also would like to recognize another JHU employee who's being recognized later on tonight, Miss Vivian here. She works in our front office, and she was nominated by CSEA. So today is a great night for JHU, and we're very proud of that. Also like to recognize our parents. We have our PTA parents, our booster parents, and our volunteers who do a great job there at JHU. I do want to give a special thanks to Dr. Avila for his vision this year and the support he gives to the site principals and to the district, and it's been a great thing that he's here in our district, and all our principals and myself appreciate that. I want to give a special shout out to my middle school principal, my fellow principals. They do a great job. I'm almost done here. Heidi, Rhea and Monique. We're a team of middle school principals, and we got to have that laughter to get us going. Lastly, and I had to make sure it's very important, I have to thank my family. I would like to thank my wife, Lupe, who is a teacher, but right now she's at home raising our small children, which is the most important job, I believe. Isaiah, Aaron, and Adam, and that allows me to be here at work and to be able to do the great things at Jehu. So she does a great job. I appreciate everything that she does for our family, and I'm very blessed for that. I'd also like to thank my mom. She does a great job. She assists us there at the house with the 3 crazy kids, and so having grandma there is very, very special. So thank you, Mom, for that. And lastly, before I leave, I want to give a shout out to some of the mentors. You got to always thank the people who helped you get you to where you're at. The mentors when you were young. My administrative mentors kind of bring me up. I'm just going to give names, and then they're not here, but Van Closter, JW, my mentor here when I came to Rialto, Mr. Luna, Jen Harper. They've done a great job helping me here, so I really appreciate them. And the last thing I want to leave you with, a mentor growing up told me, Armando, if you want to have success as an administrator, here's the golden rule you got to live by. Like your job, love your family, and I live by that. Thank you very much.
Okay. And now we'll move on with the REA Employee of the Quarter, presented by Mr. Ayala.
Sometimes it takes a special experience or an observation, and that's sometimes all we need for our special calling to realize what it is that we're put on this planet for. So with that being said, tonight we are honored to recognize our Rialto Education Association's, REA's, Employee of the Quarter, Ms. Deb Bugner. Ms. Bugner, come up please and join me. Go ahead and continue reading here. Mrs. Bugner was born in Franklin, Nebraska, as the oldest daughter of Margaret and Bill. Although she has 2 younger brothers, David and Brian, it was because of Brian she entered the career of teaching. Brian was born with severe cerebral palsy. Mrs. Bunger, when I was 18 and he was 5 years old, I would observe Brian getting on a Greyhound bus alone to go to school, which was about an hour away. I thought to myself, no child should have to be driven that far for a special needs teacher. At that point, I decided to enter a career in teaching special education students, and this she deserves a round of applause because, she's making a difference. She graduated from Minden High School in Nebraska, where she earned her bachelor's degree from Nebraska State College in 1978. She also earned her teaching credentials and jumped into her career that has now successfully spans almost 4 decades. Ms. Bunger started as a resource teacher in Nebraska, running to 4 different schools and spending about 450 miles a week on the road. And when the call came in 1987, she flew to California to accept the position of an SDC special day class teacher at Dunn Elementary School in Rialto Unified. In 1995, she accepted the position of a special education teacher at Rialto High School, and in 2008, at Rialto High School, she became MH, multiple handicap teacher. But many of her colleagues say that Ms. Bunger is loving and caring beyond just a classroom existence. Deb is a wonderful teacher, colleague who is always looking out for others, said Lisa Lindberg, president of REA. She has been a past delegate for REA multiple times as the National Education Association representative, assembly, and our former REA secretary for many years. She has dedicated herself to the district, the association, but most of all to her students. She's recently coordinated a presentation for the faculty members of Rialto High School, who were formerly military personnel. The Quilts of Valor Foundation provided 15 quilts for the Rialto High School staff who had served in the Air Force, Marines, Army, Navy, and Coast Guard before they became faculty members. This is just one recent example of how Deb thinks of others and works diligently for the good of all. When she is not busy working, she enjoys needlepoint, crocheting, knitting, cooking. Miss Bunger summed up her recognition in 3 simple words. Maybe you can say that.
I'm just humbled.
Congratulations, Ms. Bunger, and on behalf of the Rialto Unified School District, we are proud to present tonight a certificate of recognition to Ms. Deborah Bunger in recognition for all the special efforts and everything that she's done for this school district, the staff, and the kids. Thank you so much. Okay. Whatever comes out of your heart there, it's fun. Give that to you. Right here with you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I really am humbled with this and appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That's okay, just ignore the rest of us. Congratulations, they're very deserving.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and now Mr. Montes will present the certificate of recognition for CSEA.
I just had to shake this woman's hand right here. For those of you who don't know, one of our just recently retired longtime teachers from Morgan Elementary, Miss Neva Hayes. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you. Congratulations, by the way, Miss Bunger and Armando. Very well deserved. Tonight, I have the honor, thank you, Board President, Mrs. O'Kelly, for allowing me to present to a very special person with us here tonight as well. We are pleased to announce that Mrs. Vivian Barone, Clerk Typist 2 from J. Hugh Middle School, we had another J. Hugh Middle School recognition tonight, was selected as CSEA California School Employees Association Chapter 203 Employee of the Quarter. Please come on up, Ms. Barone. Mrs. Barone was born in Havana, Cuba. Her family migrated from Cuba in 1969 to Miami, Florida, and later moved to Southern California. Mrs. Barone graduated from South Hills High School in West Covina in 1981. In 1992, with her husband of 31 years, Mr. Victor Barone, the couple moved to the city of Rialto. They raised 3 sons here, Victor, Michael, and Anthony, who attended RUSD's Fitzgerald Elementary School, Casero Middle School, and 2 graduated from Carter High School. 2 of her sons are currently enlisted in the United States Navy. Mrs. Barone has worked in the Rialto Unified School District for 14 years. She began as a substitute noon duty aide at Fitzgerald Elementary School in 2002. After leaving Fitzgerald Elementary, she accepted the position of an attendance records clerk at Rialto High School. She transferred to Carter High School as a health clerk and then changed classification to transfer to J. Hugh Middle School as a clerk typist 2. Quote, "I love my job here and my co-workers at J. Hugh Middle School," replied Mrs. Barone. "The staff is friendly, the atmosphere is positive for our students, and the leadership team is supportive of their employees. So yes, I do love it here." End quote. On her spend time, Mrs. Barone, who also has 2 grandchildren, enjoys spending time with their family. Quote, "I have 2 sons that are active in the military, so at any time they can be deployed," she replied. "We really have to juggle and take advantage of family, and we do." Mrs. Barone was nominated by J. Hugh Principal Armando Ortega with support from Mrs. Linda Silva, the Rialto Chapter CSCA President. And since we have Principal Ortega here tonight, I'm not going to read everything he said. I'd rather just let him come on up and say a few words as principal of J. Hugh Middle School.
Representing the best in leadership, dependability, attitude, job performance, and overall Jaguar pride. Vivian is a hardworking, dependable employee who has a positive attitude. She does a great job. She's a team player and always comes in with that great big smile every morning. We're very, very lucky to have her at J.U. Middle School, and I'm very proud of her. So I want to congratulate her. I'm glad she's representing us.
So with that, we have this very special certificate of recognition for you for Employee of the Quarter. And I just want to thank you as a board member for everything you do for our kids and for our district and for this community. Thank you. And yes, her family, please come on up and take a picture, and then we'll let Ms. Barone give some words. Here or in front of the, here? One with the principal. Get over here. The principal's here. Might as well. Get in there.
Thanks.
You got Linda coming up too.
Oh, okay. Well.
Vivian, on behalf of the Rialto Chapter 203 for CSCI, I always forget that, I'm sorry. We would like to present you with this certificate for your dedicated service to the students, parents, administration, and co-workers of the Rialto Unified School District. We honor you today. Congratulations. Oh, sorry. Can I get a picture of this?
I'm not a public speaker, so I'm just going to say thank you, Mr. Ortega, for nominating me. Thank you. I'm humbled and honored. It's very easy to work. Ooh. It's very easy to work in an environment that you created. So thank you.
So do it this way. Okay. There you go.
Well done. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Back to you, Board President.
Yes, I just want to say once again that we have so many absolutely amazing people that we are proud to call our employees, and I love to see them get recognized. So congratulations to everyone who got recognized tonight. Okay, next presentation is the governor's proposed budget for fiscal year 2016-2017. presented by Mohammed Islam, Associate Superintendent Business Services, and Diane Romo, Senior Director of Fiscal Services. I do better to go this way. I guess. I have more room.
You're right in front of me, Nancy. You're fine. Right there, better view. Can you see that?
Good evening, President Mrs. Nancy O'Calley, Vice President Ms. Dina Walker, board members, Superintendent Dr. Avila, staff, and committee members. Tonight I'm here to present the governor's proposed budget plan for fiscal year 2016-2017 and how this plan relates to our education program, Rialto Unified School Districts, and how the funding is going to arrive to educate our students in our community. So before I proceed with this, I'd like to introduce my senior director, Diane Romo, will be joining with me to present some of the slides we're going to present tonight. I apologize for my voice. I'm on medication. I don't know why it's not getting clear. So first of all, if it doesn't sound clear, it's like a broken drum, but I apologize for that. As you know, the governor's Brown released his plan for next year on January 7, 2016. And again, this is a proposed budget plan. Part of the plan, I'm going to highlight some of the key area governor highlight to his plan. First bullet, as you can see, the governor highlights some of the forecasting our economy, our state economy. As you know, our economy is getting better. The growth is, I call slow growth, but it's not quite there yet. It's not meeting our expectation. We'd like to turn around, get economy get much better. Unemployment is still there, but it's not as high as it used to be. So economic growth continue to be strong. Governor Brown also reminding us some of the key point to his budget, where it's a cycle for recession again. Many of you remember, we don't like to hear that. I know it's not a good, it's like a contradictory. On one hand, you're seeing economy getting better. Other hand, get ready for next recession. As you know, the recession comes every 10 years. We are going towards that cycle. Continue to the next slide, next bullet, I'm sorry. As you know, the Proposition 30, we as a taxpayer support that governor's Proposition 30 a couple of years ago. That part of the Proposition 30, the two items on Prop 30, we as a taxpayers endorse that on the ballot. One is a sales tax, the other one is a personal income tax. One of the items is sales tax is going to expire this December 2016. And personal income tax for high earned income people, over 250,000, they will pay a higher income tax. That also going to expire December 31st, 2018. The governor banking on these two elements as a part of his plan for next 8 years is that Prop 30 is almost $6 billion, which is a big piece of the governor's budget plan, how this his plan will be funded through Prop 30. So this is as you highlight, there's two elements, which is he has no plan to restore that $6 billion funding once these two items is going to expire. Next bullet, as governor does expect the extension of Prop 30, he does not want to call extension anymore because of it's going to expire. He called there will be a similar initiative to be placed on the ballot in November 2016. We don't know what that means at this time, but we believe he will have something to be on the ballot to replace Prop 30 funding. Continue to the next slide, next bullet, I'm sorry. As you know, the California is still in the bottom, towards the bottom of the per people funding. We're now number 41 in the rank out of 50 states. So that is still remain to be concerned that California students are not, funding is not getting higher nationwide. This is a scale from the nation. Go ahead.
Just a question, do you happen to know what ranking is in the economy? As far as the largest economy in the country, what do we rank? Or in the world?
I don't know, but we're supposed to be one of the 5 ranking. California is a golden state. We're supposed to be one of the 5th in the rank in the nationwide. Maybe Dan?
Yeah. The California economy is the 5th largest economy in the world.
In the world, and yet our funding for schooling is only 41st?
And this is not a surprise. This has been going on historically. You can go back many years back. You'll see this is not getting better. We 41, 40, 45, 46. We're in that range. And that's been a concern because our students are not, we're looking for better education for our students. Our funding is not there yet. And that's been a challenge statewide. If you compare other states, New York, Chicago, their funding level somewhere 14,000, 15,000 per people. Our funding level is close to 8,000, almost half. So that's been ongoing concern as a member of the society and taxpayers. I'm concerned. Continue to the next slide. I'm going to highlight some of the key area of the governance plan. As governance plan proposed budget for next year, $122.6 billion. And that is a spending plan for next year. $2.4 billion increase in Proposition 98 funding. And Prop 98 is statutory minimum guarantee funding, and he's keep on increasing that funding gap we have for historically. Next bullet, $2.8 billion increase of local control funding formula gap closing. As you know, governance plan, LCFF for next 8 years through 2021, he's trying to give us additional funding, the funding we lost over the years. He's trying to restore those money over the next 80 years through 2021. So every year we are getting, the gap is getting closed, narrow, and gradually is getting closed, meaning we'll get to the 100% level. So next year, part of his plan, we will be reaching 95% of the governor target funding level, which is he's ahead of the schedule. As you can see, his plan was 2020, 2021. Because of the last 2 years, economy did get better. Capital gain is a surprisingly state received large amount beyond the projections. So governor increasing the gap funding was substantially higher so he's ahead of the schedule. As you can see, next year is 95% level. But we expected it should be all the way to 2020, 21, getting at 100%. So we're getting close to 100% by next couple of years. Next bullet, part of his proposals, governor coming up with a new idea of early education block grant. You want to combine our preschool funding and with the TK, traditional kindergarten program. So this is a new approach. He's combining those two funding. There's no increase of funding, meaning our program remain going to receive same level of funding. But he's using new concept of on preschool and traditional kindergarten program, combining those two programs. Next bullet, part of his plan is going to give us $1.2 billion in discretionary one-time fund, which is about $214 million funding per student, per ADA, average daily attendance. Rialto Unified School District going to receive about $5.3 million. But this funding is a one-time money. And part of this funding, as I'm going to share this with the board tonight, we have a new adoptions cycle next year. We have to adopt our English language art program, ELA. And that adoptions alone is going to cost us estimated $7 million. Do we have is the state provide any funding for new adoption? Answer is no. We adopt last year math adoption for our K-12. It cost us $5.5 million. That money comes from our LCFF funding. We do not receive any additional funding for new adoptions to educate our children. So I want to be mindful of that. So this money does not, we are lucky to getting this money. We're not expected to have one-time money because of the state revenue received beyond the projections. The governor proposed to give us a one-time money for next year. So this money can be used towards our adoptions. And 5.3 does not pay for full adoption. As I was sharing with you tonight, it cost us about $7 million. There's a short. Continue to the next bullet. Governor proposed a plan giving us a 0.47% COLA, cost of living adjustment, for LCFF base grant and other categorical program. When I say other categorical program, I'm referring to special ed, after school programs and others. This Rialto Unified School District, we're going to receive about $900,000 for this cost of living adjustment. But we all know our cost of living adjustment is much higher than 0.47%. The average, we're going to get $36 per ADA for this cost of living adjustment. Continue to the next slide. These are the few highlights I want to share with the board tonight. As we know, the LCF is a new model. And historically, we have seen every governor comes up with a different model during the governorship, during their journey. This governor came up with a model called LCFF, Local Control Funding Model, and I call this a redistribution of existing fund. The program did not give us any new money. It's the money we lost. It's going to restore the money we used to have 1977, 78, and during those years. And over the last so many years, we lost that money every year. Many of us remember our funding being cut. We've been going through layoff every year for the last so many years. So now this governor giving us those funding through the LCFF funding model. So again, it's a model, new model. It's not a new funding. And this model is for 8 years. It's going to expire 2020, 2021. And we are already in the third year of that model, going to the fourth year next year. Next bullet, LCF growth provides an average increase per pupil funding for 5.6%, which about $4.89 per ADA. This is a statewide average. It's not a Rialto Unified School District number. So, and this amount, the funding is about $12.2 million to the governance plan. The next bullet is grade spend adjustment, we call GSA. Governor also proposed our K3 going to receive 10.4% for class size reductions. We're required by law under the plan to reduce our K3 class size all the way to 24:1 by 2020, 2021. The reductions is driving how governance is funding the gap funding every year. The percentage of the gap funding, we have to adjust our class size by that percentage every year. By 2020, 21, we have to reduce our class size by all the way to 24:1. Right now, our class size for K3, 25.3 per class. So we're not quite 24 yet. The 9-12 program, this is 2.6%, is going to increase funding. Is for our CTE program, Career Technical Education Program, for grade 9-12. Continue to the next bullet, lottery. I hope many of you in this room is playing tonight, then you can retire tomorrow. There's a large jackpot. If you have not watching it, we get state lottery pay 40% of the revenue funding comes to the educations. We receive every 40 cents per dollar comes to educations. That's a part of the state lottery. We received $181 per ADA. The state lottery has a two component. One is called unrestricted, and restricted component. The unrestricted portion we spend for our salary for our teachers, which is $140 per ADA. Total amount we received for the lottery is $4.7 million for Rialto Unified School District. The other components of lottery is called restricted components under Proposition 20. Many of you remember when lottery was approved to the Proposition 20, we are restricted. We have to spend that $41 per ADA for instructional supplies such as textbooks, workbooks, and other books for classrooms. We cannot use that money for anything else. That's the restrictions given to the Proposition 20. Continue to the next slide. Some of the area I want to highlight tonight that does not been in the governor's plan for next year. There's no new funding, Governor sharing to the plan for next year to the employer contributions in the area of our STRS and CalPERS. The CalPERS and STRS contributions gradually going up due to their bad investment by the California state investment over the last so many years. There's a huge gap because of the our pensions. Our large number of baby boomers are going to the pension because of that bad investment. Now the responsibility shift to us as an employer. What that means, our percentage of the contributions are gradually going up. Over the next 7 years, our increased contributions for our employee in these two areas will be $16.7 million. It's a huge increase. It's going to go all the way to increase by, starts increase will be 10.85%. It used to be 8.25%. PERS is also increased over 8.46%. It's going to close to 20%. Again, it's the employer contributions. Is the governor funding this? No. Is he giving us additional plan how we should manage the increased cost of this employer contribution? At this time, the governor is silent. So that means our LCFF funding, our operating fund, has to absorb this increased cost. As you heard me saying, COLA only 0.47%. These two itself over 5% increase next year. So there's a gap. And where are we filling that gap? Using our educational programs or operational fund to cover that gap, because the governor is not speaking on those issues or not paying for increase of their bad investment, and now we have to absorb that increase. So that means our cost is going up. There's no proposal for a statewide school facility bond at this time. Governor, as some of you know, there's a $9 billion initiative is eligible to be in the ballot November 2016. But governor is not in favor of that. So because he doesn't want to conflict, he needs a replacement of Proposition 30, ongoing funding to support our educational program. So he's not interested at this time about the facilities bond, which help us to improve our facility, building schools, modernizing our schools. Many of our school districts nationwide, they're falling apart because they're aging. The governor is not interested in this area for next year. He's silent. He's not giving any proposals about facilities bond, nor he's not supporting either. So again, you heard me say $9 billion is eligible. We don't know yet whether it's going to make to the ballot. Next bullet is there's no new funding for special ed education. As you know, specialist program is being underfunded historically because your cost is need of the students. We cannot underestimate the need of our students. We have to serve the need of our students, and we don't think cost. We think about the students, what student need, and serve them at that level. So therefore, as a school district, we're paying a price way over than what the state is funding to us. Our encroachment to our special program is $21.5 million, beyond above what state and federal government paying for this program. This is the money state and federal not covering for us.
That's currently what we're spending?
Our increase, our spending over the revenue we're receiving is 21, our contribution is 21.5. Next bullet is our transportation. Government is silent. There's no new funding for transportations. And that's also an increased cost. As you know, transportation cost is going up, gas price is going up, the labor cost is going up. So government is silent. Our home to school transportation, Rialto Unified School, we're paying $2.7 million. And our special ed transportation is $4.9 million. So these are the programs, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share this tonight. There's no funding coming from the state or federal to help us to educate our children in our community. So we need to speak up. We cannot be silent because this has been going on. As a result, we are suffering. We can't give our students best of the best when it comes to education. We have to look at the bucket, how much resource we have, how we can serve our students the best based on resource we have. We don't have enough. It was never enough. It is not enough even now. That's been ongoing challenge we have, being a local school board and the community and the parents and the practitioners. We are going through this challenge. At this time, I want to turn over to my Senior Director of Fiscal Service. She's going to cover a couple of slides.
So I'm going to go over the numbers just so that you can have a perspective as to what our funding looks like. In the current year, if we were at full implementation, we would be receiving $260 million. The governor calculates our increase in the funding between what we received last year, adjusted for the current year projected ADA, and the target funding. The difference between those two numbers is then multiplied by the current year gap funding, which is the 49.8% you see for 16-17. And that's how they arrive at the $15 million. Now, they take into consideration the ADA loss that we will have from 15-16 to 16-17. That's why when you look below at the increase in funding, of that $15 million increase, we will only be receiving 13.6 because we're losing about 250 ADA from year to year. In that increase, 10.8 million is for our base program. This is to cover our basic operating expenditures. The supplemental and concentration has to go towards our unduplicated students. That's our EL, our economically disadvantaged, our foster youth. And as you can tell, I'm going to click over to the next slide so you can see the trend. The blue column represents our funding and the red represents our target. As we go out into the future years, we're getting closer and closer to our target, which means that the state won't be giving us such large increases in funding any longer. As we make decisions in our LCAP about how our district is going to maximize the use of these funds, you have to make decisions that will make the most effective use of money and arrive at the goals that you establish for our students. So in the out years, it will be crucial that the decisions made are with the students' best interest in mind. We're going to get to a point where we're going to have to assess what does our district currently provide, what choices have we made in the past, and are those the best for our students? Because if you look at the numbers in the prior slide, next 16-17, 13.6, 17-18, 4.5, 18-19, 6.3. As Mohammed was saying, there's certain costs like the STRS and PERS increases that we won't be able to control, which means they're going to really put us in a predicament of what do we scale back and what do we keep and what is really helping our students. And it's going to be more about value added from our employees, from our materials, from what we already have than just adding in quantity. So we wanted to present these numbers to you just so that you have a perspective of what's coming to us, and when you make decisions as a board, you can make those decisions in an informed manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. If I may give you importance of, as you heard Diane is referring to, we are projecting about 248 students, 80 below this year. That also concerns, that affect our funding, because the more student we have, the higher is funding, the less student you receive, less funding here. So do we have a control over the numbers we're losing over the time? No. Again, due to the economy, housing market, everything else affect our community, our family, and children living in our community or coming our community or migrate to somewhere else. So this also has an impact to year to year our funding of our program. So that's a huge concern. We lost over last 5 to 7 years over 5,000 students. If you, some of you remember, the Rialto used to have almost 30,000 students. We're below 26 now. So that concern that we lost large number of students over the time due to many reasons. So if you take everything into consideration, it is a concerns going forward and challenge we have how we are going to maintain our quality education program. Our students deserve the best. With that, I want to turn over to you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed and Diane, for such good news. We understand things are out of your control, and there is good news in there too, but you know, a lot of things we have to be prepared for. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dina had a question. Sure.
So, Mr. Islam, you spoke in reference to textbook adoption. What year again was that we're going to have to do that, and that is not actually allocated from the state? We'd have to figure it out in our own budget for that year? What year?
Next year.
Next year. 2016, 17?
Yes.
Okay, and that's going to be an estimated about $7 million for
yes.
ELA across the grade spans?
Yes, K-12.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Thank you.
And math, I gave you the number last year. We adopted math is $5.5 million.
Okay, and then estimated is going to be about $7 million for the
Yes.
ELA. First of all, I appreciate what you just said in reference to about looking at the long range plan. Once we get to the max amount of numbers in a few years of how much the target funding is going to be, and that we have to look at our district for value add from our staff and everyone else versus just adding in quantity. And I just want to reiterate to that, to be able to understand that when money comes in, that it's not just our job to say, oh, well, whatever we've been doing, the status quo, we'll just add more of that, but looking at how effective it is for our students.
Right.
And thank you for adding publicly that we have to look at what's the best thing for our students, and that we align our resources financially, especially, to do that. So thank you for your report. If anybody else has any questions, thank you.
You said that you feel the one-time discretionary funds will be able to cover the cost of the ELA adoption, or no?
Part of the cost, not 100%.
Part of the cost,
As
but
you
not
can
all
see,
of it.
$7 million, we are getting a little over $5 million. There's a gap.
Okay.
But can we don't adopt the ELA? But you think about, if it's my child, I have 2 daughters in college. Yes, I would say I expect the district adopt it, because you want to give the latest technology, latest education tools and education our children deserve. So we cannot say because it's going to cost more, or we don't have funding, you are not going to do the adoption, because the state expect us to do adoptions,
Right.
but the state not funding that for the adoption. And that's been historically, it's not something new to this governor. This has been, and many of you remember this has been the case.
Thank you. Are there any more questions?
Just a comment here. I know this is a nonpartisan position, but you know, it eats at me, and I just want to go public here and make a comment that we've been down this road before, where we had to issue out a lot of pink notices, and one of the reasons for that was because we didn't have Proposition 30, which gave the taxpayers a 0.25% tax. But once we approved that Proposition 30, the 0.25% tax, all of a sudden the economy changed for California. People were working, people's homes were recovering, things started moving in the right direction. Let's not go backwards again So let's stay on top of this together, because the only way we can combat this is to remind the legislature that what worked and what didn't work. So what I see right now could be a ploy to put some pressure on districts so that people like myself and others start sharing and rallying around the legislature so that they can make the right decisions for us or put the right proposals back out there. Ask yourself this one more time. Is 0.25%, is that asking too much to keep us moving in the right direction? That's Proposition 30. Thank you.
And one more question, just on, and this is going to be for Dr. Avila. For the textbook adoptions, do we already have a team in place that's looking at that, or
Yes,
is
we
the
do.
process from that?
Yeah.
And is that a standing team from prior, or are we doing a new team, or added diversity and creativity from all sectors of our district to add into the selection of the textbooks, and not, I mean, for the variety?
And I will defer to staff to answer that question.
There are teachers from every grade level doing the piloting now of 2 publishers that were selected by the teacher textbook committee. And so they're piloting the programs for 6 weeks, and then they will switch off and pilot the other program, and they will vote and make their recommendation.
Okay. And are we also looking at supplemental textbooks and reading and things that for support?
Yes.
Not just the standard from the state, you know, what the state recommends?
Right.
Okay.
That's why it's higher than the math, because there will be additional materials for intervention and for RTI and so forth.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question related to that. Are they looking at digital textbooks?
Yeah, Ms. Walker, I'll let Ms. Harper address the secondary because she will address the digital ones too.
Sorry, but for the third one.
Oh,
Good
that's
evening,
okay.
Board. At secondary, we have 2 teachers at every grade level, 6 through 12, and they are piloting both the hard textbook print as well as the digital, because we want to be ready for whatever shift. All publishers right now will either give you as much print as needed or as much digital. So we are trying every single thing that they offer and getting a feel for it. It will be a little bit less as we go total digital, but then we have to have devices for children. And so since we have the Wi-Fi thing down at secondary, it's been working out really well. I've been talking to all of the teachers that are piloting, and the only frustration is not having a one-to-one device. But everything else seems to be going well. They're working vertically in teams as well as horizontally in teams. So far so good.
Would they work with us to have a class set of hardback textbooks in each classroom, but a digital textbook to take home?
Yes, we basically, when we get to that point of which book we want to take a look at, we tell them what we want.
Okay.
And then they bundle it, and Mohammed wheels and deals with them to get the best price.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Well, comment on digital is the reason to go digital is instead of buying a brand new textbook every few years, you buy the changed pages. So now it may cost more, but this is a one-to-one device, and they are available to our littlest ones even. So
Majority
we
of students have them already.
yes. So you know that's something that we have to look at as we look at value added. We have to see what is already in their hands. So,
As Mr. Martinez, as you know, the adoption cycle is a 7-year cycle. Every 7 years, there's a new adoptions comes from the state, introduce a new adoption. So math, science, English language arts. So what you're saying, yeah, we have to look at which gives the best price and return on our investment.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for
Okay.
your hard work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
Okay, and now our next presentation is the Special Education Strategic Plan presented by Dr. Paulette Koss.
And if I can just add that this is the strategic plan that the task force worked on last school year. There was a task force of approximately 30 or so stakeholders that contributed. It's been a long ways coming, I've read it from beginning to end. It's very exemplary. Many of the things that are recommended in the strategic plan are already in place, and many others to come, as Dr. Koss has taken the lead of special education department, and her great team that we now have at the district office, along with a number of parents who are part of the conversation, will be implementing this plan over the next few months.
Is the task force still active?
Well, after we did the prioritize, they met to review the final, and the plan is to have them continue to be active.
Great.
Okay, good evening, President O'Kelly, members of the board, Dr. Avila, members of cabinet. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Paulette Koss, and I am the new Executive Director of Special Education. Before I start, I do want to introduce a couple members of our wonderful special ed team. We have our coordinator, Erica Johnson, who's passing things out over there. Elisa Garcia and Shelly Gates, two of our program specialists, are here tonight. And we also have two other members, Doris Monteroso and Arlene Hyman. So that's the special ed team at the district, and they've been a wonderful team. As you can see, there's our mission statement for special education. Now, as Dr. Avila said, this plan was developed from your FINCMAT report, where they took a look at the entire district, they took a look at special education, and they came up with our strengths and weaknesses in the program, and then they came up with a blueprint for special education. And you have the complete packet in front of you, as well as the PowerPoint, and this is also available on the website as well. The task force that Dr. Avila referenced spent about 20 hours in a 10-month period, and it was composed of all stakeholder groups, administration, teachers, parents, people from the community. They got together and they researched best practices in special education. They compared that to where we were at the time, and they came up with a blueprint for where we want special education to be. The bottom point on this slide is very important, because even though this is called a special education strategic plan, a lot of it involves not just the special education department, a lot of it involves collaboration with other departments, such as general education. And those are the ones that you're going to see in orange print during this presentation. So what happened was they finished the draft in May of 2015. Then when I came on in November, we got together a subcommittee of the strategic plan committee, and we prioritized the events in the plan, decided on a timeline for those events. And then we had a final meeting where it was reviewed by task force committee members. The plan consists of 5 service sections, all geared around various aspects of the special education program. The first is student instruction, intervention, and identification. And obviously that's the one that deals directly with students. Also service delivery, which talks about our service delivery models. Support systems, because obviously any program has to have the proper support or it's not going to be successful. Communication systems, and then finally, once we've got our program together, then program efficacy to monitor how effective it is. Each of the 5 sections has a goal, and then there are different areas and different actions that support the goal. Section 1, student instruction. The goal is that prior to identification for special education, all students will have access to a 3-tiered database intervention system with very targeted, individualized support. So if you look at the next page, you'll see, in order to achieve that goal, there's 2 main areas that we need to focus on. The first is professional development. One of the big things that we need to focus on in professional development is having collaborative training with general and special education teachers on the frameworks and the special education plan. In the past, most of the professional development has been segmented. The special ed would get theirs and general education would get theirs. And so we really need to integrate that, make sure that there's collaborative training. And in order to do that, we need to take a look at the next step, which is developing master schedules that are going to allow for ongoing collaboration. In order to collaborate, the teachers have to have planning time at the same time. There has to be some flexibility in their schedules, and that involves creating a flexible master schedule. And as you can see, those items are in orange, which means they're going to involve collaboration with more than one department. The second area in this section is interventions. We need to develop and implement a 3-tiered response to intervention, or RTI model, with more intensive levels based on student progress data. Now, this is already being started in some schools. Various schools in the district are at various levels of implementation in their interventions. But what we really need to develop is a district-wide 3-tiered intervention model with specific criteria for each tier. And then to refine it so that there are level 2 interventions and that special education only is considered at level 3 after the students have already had general education interventions. And if you look at the left, you'll see our projected timeline. For those professional development items, we'd like to have those completed by June 2017. And for the intervention items, I put begin in February 2016 because some of these things are already happening, and would like to have it fully implemented by the end of 2017. And I have to tell you that the one on interventions is going to be a very large task, but I think it will pay off very well for the district and our students. Section 2 is service delivery. And our goal is that our students will have their highest achievement level in the least restrictive environment, or LRE, with individualized support and services. I'm sure you're aware that special education law calls for students to be educated in the least restrictive environment that will meet their needs, which involves them being with their general education peers as much as possible. And so our service delivery model should reflect that. This section actually has 3 areas of focus. Again, one of them is professional development. One of the areas is to develop a needs assessment for all of our stakeholders to design a professional development calendar of trainings and ongoing support. Now, obviously, there's professional development ongoing at all times in the district and in the special ed department as well, but we want to make sure that that professional development is targeted to meet the needs of our teachers and make sure that it's meeting their needs. Currently, we've had a lot of training in implementing and facilitating IEPs. We're getting ready to do some training in Common Core for our special education personnel as well as our general education personnel. So we want to make sure that it's meeting their needs, and we want to ask them what their needs are. The second one here is to implement an open-ended feedback tool for all stakeholders to refine professional development. And I know in the spring of 2015 there was a parent survey that was given out for what types of professional development the parents wanted. And in November, we also did a survey with our special education staff to find out what types of training and support they needed, and we tried to target our trainings to that. And obviously that needs to be an ongoing item. This second one here in the middle of the slide is communication and collaboration. This is very important as we start to mainstream our special education students and start to have more collaboration. It's very important that we develop a profile or a way for our general education staff to know the needs of our special education students. And right now that's happening very well in some of our schools, but not so well in other schools. So we want to really standardize that and come up with a format that the special education staff can let the general education teachers know these are the students' needs, these are the accommodations that they need when they're in your classroom. And the second bullet there is to create a system for vertical articulation between the teachers for students to transition from one level to the next. Now, there have been transition meetings happening, but best practice in special education says that you have teachers from the previous grade level and teachers from the next grade level. And that type of articulation has not happened in Rialto in the past. This spring, we're actually going to be piloting it. We're going to be doing it with all of our preschool students. We're going to be actually having transition meetings with the kindergarten personnel, and we're going to be piloting it with our elementary schools. We're going to choose 5 elementary schools and do some of that vertical articulation transition meetings with the middle school staff. And the reason that we're starting with 5 is because obviously we have a lot of elementary schools. Doing it all at once is a very daunting task for the staff, so we want to pilot it, get it running smoothly, and then we can have it happen in all of our schools. And then the last one here is service delivery. We want to define the components of the continuum of service delivery models and least restrictive environment. Basically, what that means is we need to take a look at some of our service delivery models. Traditionally, our resource specialist program at the elementary level has been pull-out, but that's not necessarily the most effective way to do it. We should have our special education personnel in the classroom as much as possible, doing push-in, servicing students in the classroom when they can. In order to do that, the last bullet here on the slide is we're going to need to collaborate with all the stakeholders as well as the personnel department to make sure that our job descriptions are reflecting those new realities in special education service delivery, and make sure that all of our personnel understand new job duties. For example, our resource specialists, when they go in the classroom, will be allowed to work with students who are not necessarily identified as special education students, and that'll be a new thing for them. Okay, section 3 talks about support systems. And obviously support is the most important part of a building. It's the foundation, and that's what this section is. It's having a very responsive and flexible system of supports for our strategic plan. This area also has 3 separate focus areas. The first is looking at our expertise. And one of the things that we've started doing is collaborating with personnel to implement position control systems so that we can track teachers and support staff. And in the past, that has not been done. We'd like to make that a lot more efficient so that we are able to know where our staff is. Do we need to move staff to another site quickly in order to support a student? It'll give us a lot more flexibility and a lot greater ability to do that. We'll also need to collaborate with fiscal services to make sure that we're using our financial resources effectively to meet student needs. So are we using our financial resources to hire personnel, to get equipment, get materials that our students need? And of course, this is ongoing right now. It's already started, and would like to have a system fully implemented by June of 2017. The middle section talks about looking at our resources, making sure that all special education students have access to the same instructional materials, resources, software, technology as general education students. As you know, the law says that special education students are general education students first, and they get access to all the things that general education gets, and then they get their special education services on top of that. So we want to make sure that our classrooms are equipped the same as our general education classrooms. And then the second part of it is also important, performing an inventory of what we already have. What books, what technology, what materials do we have, and not only what do we have, but what works, what's in good condition, and making sure that our classrooms are equitable in terms of general education and special education. We've started doing this, but this is going to be a pretty big task because there's a lot of stuff out there and there's a lot of classrooms, and as you know, teachers tend to put things in cupboards and not always remember that they're there. So it will be a big task, but we hope to have it finished by June of 2017. The last area is behavior support, and this area is going to help not just our special education students, but our general education students as well. We're going to be collaborating with the general education and the PDC, the Professional Development Center, to make sure that all of our staff are trained in PBIS, or Positive Behavior Interventions and Support System. Obviously, that's going to be very effective with our special education staff, but it's also going to decrease suspensions and other behavior referrals with our general ed students. And the last one, making sure that we're collaborating to make sure that PBIS is fully implemented in all of our schools and monitor its effectiveness. And I know Rialto has been doing PBIS for a while now, but it's not fully implemented at all levels in all schools. So we want to assist with ensuring that occurs. Section 4 talks about communication. And the goal is to build a community of trust, making sure that there is high levels of trust, collaboration, and respect between teachers, parents, staff, and the community. And as we know, it's very important to have trusting relationships. The first focus area in this section is on leadership. And as you can see, the first section is almost totally orange. So this is not just going to be something that the special education department is doing. This is something that the district as a whole is going to be focusing on. And the first one is having district leadership model two-way responsive communication, making sure we're being active listeners, addressing parent concerns, and making sure that when we get feedback, we're responding to it appropriately. And that's something that I know has been started from the very top of the district down. Also making sure we're utilizing early dispute resolution to make sure that we are taking care of disputes before they become more severe disputes. Obviously, we want to try to solve all disagreements as early as possible, and making sure that everybody feels that they're being respected. And then the last one here on this section is making sure that the district leadership is providing a lot of feedback on how well we're doing in the special education department with compliance to legal mandates. Making sure that everybody's aware of our school report card in these areas, making sure that they know our compliance rate. The bottom focus area is communication, providing ongoing parent forums about the progress, not only in implementing the strategic plans, but also legal requirements of the IEP process. And right now we do have parent trainings, but we want to focus those more on this plan itself, monitoring the plan, how successful are we being, and also taking a look at the IEP process. Are we being as effective as we should be? Are we being legally compliant at all times? And the last bullet here is to collaborate with the instructional technology department to refine our special education webpage and disseminate information about special education. We want to make sure our webpage is very reflective of our department, that it's easy to go to, it's easy to find things for our parents. And as you can see, these are things that have already begun to be implemented, but we are hoping to have everything here anticipated by June of 2017. And our last area is program efficacy. Once we have developed all these systems and refined all these systems, then we need to monitor them and make sure that they're continuing to be effective and continuing to meet the needs of our students and all of our stakeholders, including our parents. The first area here is to develop a procedural handbook. And right now there is not a procedural handbook in special education. There are a couple of drafts, but we want to develop a very effective procedural handbook so that all aspects of the special education program are explained, so that all of our staff at all of our sites will know the procedures for making referrals, how to facilitate an IEP meeting, what are the requirements of a legal IEP, have all those things so that it's consistent no matter where you go throughout the district. We also want to develop procedures at the sites to monitor the fidelity of the program in the classrooms. At the sites, it's the site administrator who is responsible for making sure that teachers are servicing IEPs, making sure that they're doing accommodations in the classroom, and we want to give the principals the knowledge and the training and build efficacy at the site so that they feel comfortable monitoring those things and making sure that they're happening. And if they're not happening, knowing how to get support so that they do happen. We plan to have our special education handbook out by the beginning of this coming school year in August 2016. And this has already begun because as we go, we are developing new procedures, and then we're going to put them all together into the handbook for the beginning of the new school year, and then we'll have trainings with our staff on the handbook. The last section here is progress monitoring. And this is what you asked about earlier with a continuation of the task force or continuation of monitoring of the program. Our plan calls for implementing a self-review process with the special education department twice a year to look at our compliance rate, looking at our state and federal data and our case miss data to make sure that what we're reporting to the state is accurate and make sure that we are 100% compliant with all laws and mandates. We also want to have a strategic plan implementation timeline and then tracking progress. So now that we've developed these goals, how are we going to monitor progress? Which ones are we being successful on? Which ones do we possibly need more time on? If we're having difficulty with a particular one, how do we make it so that we can achieve that goal? And then developing an automated system to monitor staffing based on predetermined teacher and student ratios, and that one you can see is in orange because we are going to need some help from the technology department on that. But to have a system so that when we have our classrooms, when we have a classroom that's getting close to capacity, we can say, do we need to put more personnel in this classroom? Or is there space in that classroom at this school? Can we put this student at their home school as opposed to moving them to another school for space reasons? We want to do that as little as possible. And on the back page, you can see, I want to give recognition to our Special Education Task Force. As you can see, the task force met in 2014, 2015, and those are the names of the parent representatives, the teacher representatives, and the representatives of district administration. And then at the bottom, you can see we had a review and prioritization subcommittee that consisted of parents and our RUSD staff. And they're the ones that went through and decided which of these initiatives was the most important and help us put timelines on each of these. And then we also had another meeting to present it to the task force as a whole. Are there any questions? Any questions?
Does anyone have any questions or comments for?
Just a comment.
What would you like?
I would just like to commend the hard work and the task force for everything that they've presented so far. It looks very comprehensive. It looks like our kids are going to benefit from this proposal here. So just thank you.
Thank you. They worked very hard.
I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
Ms. Walker? I had a question in reference to the PBIS.
Yes.
So currently, do we have, and I don't know if this is for Dr. Avila and the staff, there's a full PBIS team? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. How many people from the special ed department are actually on the PBIS team?
Well, it depends because each school has their own team.
Okay.
A lot of our school psychologists are on PBIS teams because they're the ones that are generally called upon to deal with if there's a behavior on the site. Our school psychologists do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of school psychologists that are on PBIS teams, but each school develops its own team, and each school is at varying levels of implementation of PBIS right now.
Okay, so from the special ed department, are people from the department, whether they be on the schools or from the district, helping to create the interventions for special education teachers on the PBIS teams, for the strategies for interventions?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What is your question? Are we helping with that?
Yes.
Yes.
So that there are appropriate interventions for special education students, you know, across the board.
Right. That's one of the things that our school psychologists are doing, and also we have behavior specialists that are helping with that, our behavior specialists. And that's also an area that we're going to be assisting with in the development of the RTI model, is helping to come up with interventions and strategies that might be effective with students at each level. So that's when we're collaborating with that with general education, that's how we're going to be doing it, is offering our expertise in that level.
Okay. One more question.
Sure.
Just in reference to the special ed handbook that you're creating for the district as far as procedural, the procedures for the site procedures, that you also create a handbook for parents that is user-friendly for parents, not the, you know, all this, you can't read so much, you know, legal stuff, you can't really understand what you need to do for your student, but in conjunction so that they have a guideline of what to do and what their steps are and procedures as well, because that'll help form the conflict and, you know, kind of confusion that ends up having to come to our level because there's not a clear understanding for them to be able to navigate better for their students.
Well, we haven't started on that yet, but that's a great idea, something for us to work on.
Yes.
Because you're right, there are a lot of parents that don't understand the referral process. They think it's going to happen overnight when in fact it takes time to do testing and go through the whole process. So I think a parent handbook is an excellent idea, so we can work on maybe making a little less jargon heavy version of the special ed procedural handbook for parents as well.
Right, and then with an emphasis on making sure that the parents understand that there are rights that are there, because oftentimes, I mean, we as district people or the administrators will create something with the things that we want you to know that say, so don't come to us because these are the barriers or these are the time frames, but allowing the parents to know what their rights are as students and what their time frames are for getting services for their kids so that they know that. Just to make sure that that is the kind of handbook that is created.
Absolutely, and we'll have copies of their parent rights in there, and also once our website gets developed, we can put those resources on the website as well, the parent rights and those types of things, so that they'll know what their rights are and they won't feel intimidated by the process.
Right, that's it. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions?
Just a comment, and this is more for our internal people. When this actually gets rolling, please try to handle it at the lowest level. That way it doesn't either get handed up and then come back down for you to implement. It's easier if you just get it implemented. I know it's going to take some time because previous administrations have wanted you to touch base before implementation, but we are actually going towards a model of moving on your own so that it gets implemented as quickly as possible. But again, the model has to be developed first.
Thank you. And we are working towards giving site administrators the efficacy to deal with IEPs, to deal with things like that at the site, and that they would only necessarily need to come to the district if there was something they had a question about or something they didn't feel they could handle on their own. But we want them to have as much efficacy at the sites as possible.
Excellent. Thank you.
I just want to thank you, Dr. Koss. Very impressed with your presentation. I really like the fact that you have time frames, you have a timeline of when you expect, to make some progress in some of these different areas. I really like that you said that it's required that our students, our special ed students, receive general education first. They're general education students first, and then special education is secondary on top of everything else. And I think sometimes people forget that. I think sometimes people want to completely just separate special ed into its own world.
Flip it over.
And we got to understand that, like you said, these kids, these children are regular students first. They should be getting everything general ed students are getting on top of the specialized services that they need. And I think we need to just focus on that again sometimes. But thank you, very, very, very well presented. It's refreshing to get an update on what the plans are and what's going on in special ed. So keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's give Dr. Costa a round of applause.
And just to
And
say
everybody
too-
there.
Yeah. Just to, again from the board to say thank you to everybody who's involved in the task force. 'Cause
Right.
It's been a long time, and I know you guys have worked really hard, and it's not just one person that's made the plan or that's going to see it through and make successful. So parents, staff, community people, excellent.
Gracias.
Thank you. Yeah.
Gracias. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
More praise is good. You just
I
be
know.
busy.
I was just going to reiterate that I think this is a absolutely outstanding plan. It's comprehensive. It's well done, and we definitely want to thank everyone who's been involved with it because it was long overdue and much needed. So thank you.
Long time coming, yes.
Okay, now we move on to comments. Do we have public comments from the floor?
We do, and before we transition to public comments, let me just let the board know that our student board member, Natalie Baca, is studying for a big exam tomorrow, and she had to remove herself from the meeting. So in case you didn't notice her leaving, she's gone.
Okay.
Right. The lights came on. She's
And so we have a number of requests on items not on the agenda. First, we have Ms. Patricia Romo.
Hi, good evening. I'm Patricia Romo. Some of you know me. I live across the street from 324, is that the right address? Palm. And I always have a problem with the school. I'm going to talk very fast because my list is very big. First of all, I don't like when staff members go around saying that crazy lady. I have an education, I have a degree, and I don't like to be treated like an idiot. Now, let me tell you what happens. Every time, you wouldn't like it if somebody blocked your driveway or left their McDonald's because they're running into the school. There's no do not litter signs. There's not enough lighting in the night. When the lights go out, I have to call maintenance 3 or 4 times to tell them. I know Linda puts in orders. Today, I'm really mad because something happened to me. I went looking for Linda to report. There's construction going on over there. And I'm really mad because there's these big old semi-trucks. I don't know if you guys been on Palm. That street is very little. When you guys have meetings, you guys should encourage the people to park on Willow because you guys don't live there and you guys know that the street's really small. So I'm really, really mad that everybody just says, oh, let me just park wherever and block everybody's driveway. Well, my neighbors don't like to complain. Most of them are renters, so they probably don't care. They move away. So anyways, let me talk really fast. Today I went over there looking for Linda, not knowing that she was not going to be there. She's my contact person. She knows how I am. She knows I get mad. Yeah, I get mad because people block my driveway or whatever. Anyways, there's big trucks coming down the street. I went looking for Linda to tell her, you know what, Linda, there's a bunch of trucks coming in and out. She wasn't there. I encountered the staff member, Isaura Zuniga. She was being so nasty to students. I watched her on the phone be so rude to someone. I watched her in person 2 times. If I was those kids' mothers, I would have punched her. But, you know, I don't want to get in trouble. Now, I left and came back because I was still looking for Linda, and I encountered some new lady, Veronica Smith Izagard. Now, she was so nasty to me. Now, Nancy, if you went to look for empathy or help to report that these trucks are coming, she was so nasty to me. I'm not going to let her treat me like that. I don't know who she thinks she is, but she's not going to treat me like that. All I wanted was empathy and help. To please remind the people, and I know people make mistakes, they come on the wrong street, just keep on reminding me, take your big semi-trucks on Willow. That's all I wanted. But I encountered this really nasty person. Now, Nancy, if someone did that and you lived right there, I know you would want to go talk to Miss Veronica. I'm not going to be nice anymore. I have no more patience. I work from home. There's 10, 3, 4 cement trucks going up and down the street confused. They should have been coming in on Willow. So if you live there and you have all these cement trucks trying to figure out, couldn't somebody tell them from the school, hey, go around? So I'm just fed up with it. Why do I have to call maintenance and tell them the lights are off? When they send a ticket in, they should come out. You know what happens at night when the lights are off? People are trying to break into the school. Then the alarm is off. Then the policemen come. Then the firemen come. And I can't sleep. So you guys need to do something. I'm tired of people ignoring me. Dr. D'Souza has one, Dr. Islam. Edgar knows about it. You know about it because I came to you, but you didn't do anything. And another thing, I don't want attitude when I go to seek help. I want help, okay? And you know, one comment I wanted to make was for the budget. You know, the lunch lady stealing $1 million, and the previous superintendent, the rumors were that his cell phone bill was over $2,500 a month. Those were rumors. But that can help the budget out a lot on wasteful spending. And please help me when I come to you to tell you that I need help. It's a nuisance. These are your customers. They come to your school. They should have some kind. I know that the school is working on telling them, please be courteous to the residents. But I think that awareness helps if they keep on reminding them, don't throw your McDonald's or whatever, just something. But when I call for help and you're rude to me, especially this Veronica lady, that's not acceptable. So I just wanted to come back. I'm going to start protesting again. These ladies know me. I'm very proud of their project. But anyways, I need help. When I come, Nancy, I need your help. I don't want every time I go to complain somebody's blocking my driveway. Miss Veronica, she was so nasty, I should have recorded her. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Maria Sandoval.
Buenas noches, voy a hacerlo en español. Buenas noches, miembros de la mesa directiva. Y
First in Spanish and I will translate it in English afterward. She will first read it in Spanish and then I will translate it in English afterwards.
Buenas noches, miembros de la mesa directiva y Dr. Ávila. Esta es mi primera vez en este board meeting. Nuestra preocupación como padres de familia y nuestra queja es de que cada día, hasta el día de hoy, se ha venido suscitando un problema exactamente en la oficina de de Dr. Ávila, sobre las personas que trabajan directamente con él, y voy a decir sus secretarias, porque cada vez que uno habla como padre de familia a la oficina, se pregunta su nombre, se lo damos, ¿a qué vienes? Le decimos, y todavía no nos dan la cita, todavía no nos dicen a tal hora vas a venir a ver a Dr. Ávila, cuando medio distrito ya se dio cuenta y te ponen una etiqueta. La señora fulana, no le hagan caso, es una ruendera, el Dr. Ávila no tiene citas, y eso se ha venido, no es de ahorita, es de años atrás. Yo tengo 8 años en el distrito y honestamente no es bonito venirse a parar aquí porque te etiquetan, la verdad. Muchos padres de familia allá afuera no quieren venir aquí porque nos etiquetan. Te llama la troublemaker, la señora problema, la exagerada y miles de cosas. Entonces ya basta. Han minimizado el problema por favor, Dr. Ávila, espero que usted haga algo. Necesitamos de que su personal le explique a usted qué significa la palabra ética profesional y confidencialidad. Si usted necesita que los demás se enteren, usted va a hacer la decisión de decirle a los demás miembros qué es lo que está pasando. Porque si yo quisiera que todo el mundo se enterara, la junta la haría aquí, porque hay televisiones, o lo pongo en Facebook. Entonces, necesitamos, por favor, un cambio. Nos urge, y yo honestamente he decidido personalmente que cada vez que yo necesite hablar con usted es porque ya hablé con maestros, directores, administradores, y por eso vengo a hablar con usted cuando he tenido un problema. No me he brincado ningún protocolo, o como le llamen. Otra de las cosas de que molesta que que ustedes como distrito, como nuestras escuelas, nos pidan que seamos, que nos guardemos ciertas cosas porque hay terceros que no quieren que sean afectados, que no hablemos de lo que pasa aquí. Entonces, por favor, bueno, está escrito aquí, la mayoría.
I'm going to read, she said that everything is written. It says, basically, our concern and complaint is that today is about the personnel of the office of Mr. Avila. There has been very small professional ethic in the matter that we have been wanting to deal as parents with Mr. Avila. We don't want to, if we wanted the whole district to know, we will just say it out loud here because we have cameras or on Facebook. But the problem is that this has been going on for a while, and we notice that nothing is being done. On the opposite, our problems are being minimized. As parents and adults, whenever we come to the district with to present a problem, we're asked to be discreet and to keep everything confidentiality about all these matters that are being treated, especially if there's third people involved. And all that we're asking is that to be respect and not to be generalized. There's a lot of people that don't know the meaning of the word professional ethic. Something else that she was mentioning is that whenever they complain, they are being tagged, they are being called gossipers, exaggerators, problem troublemakers, and that's something that I would like to stop. And that's if I have to talk to Mr. Avila, is because I have already talked to teachers, principals, and now I have to come to you as well, all the way to this point.
No exactamente. Estoy bien nerviosa. Ok, es por eso que me da tristeza ver que no hay tantos padres, porque estamos cansados que venimos a perder 2 horas y media. A ustedes les pagan, a nosotros no.
And this is why it's our concern that there's not enough parents, because we waste 2.5 hours here. You guys get paid to be here, we don't.
Y es muy triste de que no nos hagan caso, que todo el tiempo prometan y prometan y prometan y no pasa nada.
And it's very sad that we are being ignored, that every time you promise and nothing is done. Not just this.
Después de lo malo, pues nada más quiero decirle a Dr. Ávila, muchas gracias por hacer y entender su trabajo.
After the negative, I also want to tell Dr. Avila, thank you so much for understanding your job.
Como servidor de nuestra comunidad hasta hoy día.
As a server of our community up until now.
Por apoyarnos y hacer suyos nuestros problemas, porque antes de ser superintendente es padre de familia.
For listening to us and making our problems your problems, because before being a superintendent, you're also a parent.
Al igual que nosotros. Solo quiero decirle que nuestro distrito necesita cambios urgentes, reales, pero no a largo plazo.
And I just want to let you know that our district needs a real and big improvements.
Porque ya estamos cansados, ya basta de que que año tras año prometan cambios para beneficio de nuestros niños y su futuro, porque ustedes dicen nuestros hijos es su futuro, es el futuro del día de mañana.
Yeah, because we are fed up that year after year we have the same complaints because our children are important and then they are the future of tomorrow.
Y ojalá y todo esto que todos los padres de familia les pedimos no quede como otra promesas de políticos. Espero realmente que esto realmente se haga un cambio y ojalá yo lo pueda ver y no mis nietos o mis bisnietos.
Okay, we need to move on. You've already used the allotted time, okay? Thank you.
Can I make a comment? He's the translator. I'm fully bilingual, and some of the stuff is not getting translated correctly. I just want to tell you that I'm fully bilingual, and I would just, for the next time, I would check that.
No, I think part of the, I just want to say, I think it's better to translate as the person is speaking because, but a lot of the things she was saying was coming from her mind or from her heart, and she wasn't reading it. So when he tried to translate, he was just translating what was written. So it's better, I would just suggest that we translate as the person is speaking. That way you're translating everything they're saying.
Okay, we need to move on to public comments on agenda items. Any person wishing to speak on any item on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes.
President, we still have a number of comments
Excuse
not
me.
on the agenda.
I'm sorry. Let's move on. Finish those first. Not on the agenda items.
Not on the agenda. We have Ms. Paula Bailey.
Good evening, Superintendent, board members, and viewing audience. I was fortunate to be on that special ed task force. It did take quite some time, and it took a collaborative effort, and I think it's going to come out wonderfully. And I know our website and everything will come together. I'm also actually, and this wasn't my main reason for talking, but since it came up, part of our SELPA's website design committee. So in addition to our district having some stuff, all of the things that you were referring to, our SELPA is actually going to be working on that to make it more user friendly too, so that we can collaborate, which I know together they're both going to make it absolutely wonderful and make it easier. My main reason for coming up here tonight is I recently had a situation where there was a student who was a McKinney-Vento student, technically a homeless student who was a special ed student as well. I temporarily had allowed that actually student to live with me, and the transition what I went through was absolutely wonderful, the help that we ended up getting. Mr. Buckner, he stepped up, he made sure we had what we needed. His assistant was absolutely wonderful. And then transitioning over to the high school, this student already had an IEP that was past due, but also had a big test of a triennial coming up. And Yvette McNally really just like put it together. She goes, I'm going to do everything I can to get what I can done so we have the right placement. And unfortunately, that student is no longer residing with me, but all of the teachers at Eisenhower just really stepped up, and they had PE uniform, everything set to go, attendance, everything. So they really have it together in this district how to help a McKinney-Vento kid who's homeless, technically, and then on top of it, a special education student. So I think we are definitely in the right direction, and sometimes we need to hear some of that good stuff that's happening. And I know our special ed department is going to continue to get better. I think that's about it. Have a great night. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul.
Next, we have Mr. Rafael Trujillo.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Rafael Trujillo. I'm here on behalf of Congresswoman Norma Torres. And she just put out a call for artwork for her second annual Congressional Art Competition. And I invite Rialto High School students to participate, submit their artwork, and they have a very unique opportunity because the judges of this art competition, we have a panel of judges that come from different parts of the art industry. Last year we had someone from the Walt Disney Animation Studios that worked. It was a supervising animator who worked on Big Hero 6, which won a Golden Globe Award. And this year we asked for a supervising animator from Inside Out. So I'm trying to keep my movies. so it's really interesting because these high school students, we have a little reception at the end, and they get to interact with these judges and talk with them, and they give a little motivational talk to them about the field of art. And one of the students actually goes away and has their artwork displayed at the U.S. Capitol. So these judges actually get to judge the artwork and select one piece that will represent the 35th Congressional District. So this year, the Congresswoman, Norma Torres, is going to be hosting it at the Ontario Museum of History and Art. And it's located off of downtown Ontario. But the student participants are going to be coming from Rialto all the way to Pomona. It's a very large district. And so I'm asking for the Rialto High School students if they have a piece of artwork that they have in mind. And it fits the theme of this year, which was selected by Twitter users, and it's called Imagine Tomorrow. That's the theme. So we invite them to participate, and we invite the school board as well to attend the ceremony as well. So I do have some materials here. We have been able to distribute to our local high schools, so I want to let you know that we are getting the word out.
Okay, thank you.
And I have a second item. I know it's not on the little card thing. Very quickly, I have the opportunity, as many of you know, to be appointed to the San Bernardino County Committee on School District Organization. And the way it's set up is that there's 11 members. You have 2 from each supervisor district, and then when you have 1 at large. And in the 5th district, it's you have someone from Fontana Unified School District, and then I'm from Rialto Unified School District. So you guys have a representative on that board, and we've already started changing lines tonight.
Do you know you took my seat? Because there was a conflict. I had to leave.
Yeah, apparently Walter Hawkins was on there as well. So I believe I took his seat. I think your seat was already filled. But
oh, so we had 2 seats up. Okay.
Yeah, 2 seats in the Rialto Unified School District. So today we were able to, there was a public hearing because we ended up changing some lines at Etiwanda and Fontana Unified School District. So this is a very, very important committee, and I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be on there. And apparently when you go for re-election for this body, it goes at the San Bernardino County School Board Association for a vote. So I thank you, and in advance I want to thank you for supporting me in this position.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raphael.
And then we have one speaker who requested to speak on an item on the agenda. That item has been removed, so I'm going to ask the speaker if he still wishes to speak on the item off the agenda. That's Mr. Russell Silva.
Make sure the superintendent is when we can get it out to the schools.
Good evening, board members, administration, and viewing audience. My name is Russell Silva. I was going to discuss, and I still will, reference item K5.1, which was pulled, the option agreement for communication easement. After reviewing this item on the agenda, it was in my opinion that this is a bad deal for the district. The only one that's going to become a winner out of this is American Tower Communications, ATC, because currently the district has an agreement with them to receive $1,246 in change per month to allow them to utilize this, operate and manage this cell tower. But with the revenues that they receive from the cell providers, they're far going to exceed that amount that they give us. And I'm sure that, currently, under the contract that we have with them, it goes through February of 2025, and these revenues will provide us just under $15,000 a year in revenue. But ATC offered a lump sum cost of $224,000 to buy a perpetual easement. Sounds good. But in that same offer, the monthly rent goes away. So when you divide the annual rate into their money that they were going to offer us, in 15 years they will have broken even. And then after that, they pay us nothing for using that site. Further, in Section 1, it states that if, and that is a real big if, ATC stops utilizing that site, that the easement goes away. There's, with the internet, with the network system going the way it is, phones are not going away. Those cell towers are going to be used forever. So we'll never get that back. And I'm sorry, I'm missing my sentence. It also says in the thing in the agenda that legal counsel has reviewed this agreement, but never in there does it say that legal counsel approved the agreement. And then what about, has there been a property appraisal done on it? Because after all, they're offering us money for the site, but are they going to pay us an amount that is actually going to devalue that property? We have to have that checked out. They also say in the lease agreement that it's non-negotiable. I'm sorry. When they offered us an amount to get rid of the monthly payment, they opened negotiations again. So now it's back on our game. It's our property, and it's in your hands to do and make the decision on how best to use that property. Don't succumb to their pressure of trying to get this agreement, trying to get this easement from you, because you will lose control of that property. A perpetual easement is everlasting, unending, permanent, and eternal, and will never go away unless they come back and quit claim that easement. I know this from experience because in my job at the Water District, I author contracts, cooperative agreements, and offers for purchases and easements. So I know this is going to happen. It's this district's business to educate the children, develop their minds, and prepare them for a successful career and life outside of our walls. Accommodating the cell tower is not a priority. If they leave, so what? The district survived without them before. We have to remember, board, ATC needs us more than we need them. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Madam President, let me take one quick second to try and correct what I would consider somewhat of an injustice.
Okay.
One of our public speakers came to speak to address some concerns that she believes parents are often ignored. And I know that in the translation there were certain items that were omitted from translation, and to not point out a couple of those items would almost reinforce the very complaint that she was sharing with us. And so I just wanted the board to have the opportunity to hear at least two things that I noticed that were omitted, whether intentionally or not to point fingers, but that I believe the board should hear.
Okay.
And those two items, at the beginning, she essentially mentioned that personnel in my office, in her opinion, lacks ethics and professionalism, that they make it very difficult for parents to schedule meetings with me, even after communicating to them that they have gone through the teacher, the principal, and other administrators, that they're given almost a runaround when scheduling meetings with me. And as it was translated that oftentimes parents are labeled as gossipers or troublemakers the minute they show up at the district office. And her second concern had to do with the fact that, according to her, many people are aware that she has been here before she leaves the district office. And she again attributes that to personnel in my office and is asking that I do something about my staff communicating to the rest of the world that such and such parent was here at my office. The second piece she mentioned that, or the third piece rather, was that she wants to see changes, that this district needs changes. The changes need to happen now, not long term. She would like to see those changes, not expect for her grandkids or great-grandkids to see those changes. So she's tasking me with taking some action now. So I wanted to make sure that those two pieces were conveyed.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any more comments?
No more comments.
Okay. Now we move on to comments from association executive board members. Do we have a representative from the Rialto Education Association? Yes, we do.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Avila, Lisa Lindbergh from the Rialto Education Association. Next week is March 2nd, Dr. Seuss's birthday, and it is also Read Across America. The National Education Association, our national affiliate, started this celebration years ago, and it was it's always on March 2nd in honor of Dr. Seuss's birthday to promote literacy across the country. So next Wednesday, if you're driving in downtown Rialto and you see a giant cat in the hat in and out of the REA office, no worries, it's just me. I'll be going to Myers for the day and reading to the kids, something I enjoy every year. Secondly, I want to give a shout out to Deb Bunger as employee of the quarter. I am so proud of her and everything she did with the quilts and the vets. She's a wonderful person. And thirdly, I'd like to say that we're going to partner with Rialto Unified School District and the Clothing Tree. Our Vice President Leslie Chambers met with Mr. Leonard Buckner in Student Services. And tonight the REA Rep Council voted as our new community service project to collect jeans for the Rialto Unified School District family clothing tree. And so our members are going to be collecting jeans for the age group that they teach. So if you're a preschool teacher, you're going to get the little jeans. If you're a high school teacher, you'll get the bigger jeans, not the saggy jeans, just the bigger jeans. And so we're going to start that in April after spring break. So we're really excited about it. And lastly, we have our proposal early this year. Our contract says we need our proposal by the last board meeting in March, and there's only one board meeting in March, so we wanted to get it in. So Rep Council approved it tonight, and if I could approach, I have one for President O'Kelly and Dr. Avila.
By all means.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a representative from CSEA who wishes to speak tonight?
Good evening, Board, Dr. Avila.
Good evening.
Administration and viewing audience. As I'm sure that you had already heard, our last contract that we had negotiated was voted down by the membership. And I just want to share with the board that we had an information meeting to give the information of the contract to the members. And in that meeting, I will say that it was a very big eye-opener to me to see and to hear the amount of hurt that the classified staff have gone through over the years. Now, I've worked in the district for almost 20 years, and I guess I knew it was there, and I just didn't know how deep it had cut to some people. And so to me, listening to everything that they had to say about the reasons they didn't like what was being done and everything else, there was too much left in our contract for trust. And they would have had to trust the administration of the district to follow through with some of the items that were in the contract. And I really realized that there have been so many things happening that they lack the trust. And I understood why. And so I listened to everything that they said. And today we went back into negotiations, and I sat down with what I consider to be a great district team and an awesome classified team and our labor rep. And everything that my members wanted, we were able to receive from this district. So I think that that is a huge step forward. I think it will start to rebuild some of the trust that the members had lost. And I think that any small step that we can make forward in healing all of that is a positive thing. So we did reach agreement today again, and now it's going off to CSEA to be approved. When it comes back, we'll do another vote. And hopefully it will be something that will be great for everyone. Okay, so I wanted to thank you for that. I wanted to let you know that it's been an experience for me, a big learning thing for me, and I love it when I'm able to grow, and because then I can handle things at a better pace, and it makes me feel a little better. So, and on another note, I have an initiative measure here, which is I'm like to ask all of the board and administration of this district, and it's a tax extension to fund education and healthcare initiative constitutional amendment. It will extend by 12 years the temporary personal income tax increases enacted in 2012 on earnings over $250,000 for single filers, over $500 for joint filers, and over $340 for heads of household. But it allocates these tax revenues 89% to K-12 schools, 11% to California community colleges, and it would also allocate up to $2 billion per year in certain years for healthcare programs. Bars use of education revenue for administrative costs, but provides local school governing boards the discretion to decide in open meetings and subject to annual audit how revenues are spent. The summary of estimate by Legislative Analysis, Director of Finance, of fiscal impact on the state and local government, it will increase state revenues annually from 2019 through 2030, likely in the $5 billion to $11 billion range initially, with amounts varying based on stock market and economic trends. The increased revenues would be allocated under constitutional formulas to schools and community colleges, budget reserves and debt payments, and health programs, with remaining funds available for these and other state purposes. I'm asking that you sign this so that we have the potential to get more revenue in this district that can be used for the students, and it is decided on the spending on behalf of you. So if you live in San Bernardino County, and I know that at least the board members are all registered voters. Dr. Avila, you don't live in San Bernardino County, so I'll have to get a special form for you. I'm going to start, I'll just pass this around, and if you want to sign, that's great. I'll pick it up after the meeting. And thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, do we have anybody from the Communication Workers of America who wishes to speak tonight?
Good evening, President Notgali and Dr. Avila and board members.
Good evening.
Good evening.
CWA is going to join the bandwagon too. I know that Mohammed put up a thing, but Mohammed's always been very, very conservative. So I've known him for 18 years. I do hope that you guys squeeze out a little bit to help the poor substitutes, because yesterday I was at a meeting and Paris School Board increased the substitute pay to $175 a day. Now, I'm not foolish enough to ask for that amount right off the bat, but we'll get there in a few years. So I'd like to present this to you, and while I'm doing that, I'll just take a quick break to say that what the special ed talked about, PBIS, they've been doing that in San Bernardino. It is changing the classes around, and I really hope that you guys realize that when you have your PBS training, don't forget the substitutes. They need it too. I'll hand this contract to you as I leave. The other thing I want to say is in March, Mr. Alderson has told me we're going to have another thing of training during the spring break. So we're looking forward to that. And right now he's thinking about classroom management. Maybe we can get him to throw in something a little bit different too. I would love to feel more and more a part of this district if you could take those quarter employees and add one more for substitutes, because they do work hard and they are very necessary for the success of your district. So it would be great if sometime in the near future you put one up there for us. And the last thing I want to say is Saida presents something every April that is really great. I had dinner with the superintendent of the county last year. I'm looking forward to see who I get to eat with this year. I hope to see Dr. Avila there. Last year I won a big basket of knitting. I have not tried it yet, but I have taken the plastic off the basket.
Thank you.
We're wearing the same colors today.
Yeah, same colors. There you go.
And do we have a representative from the Rialto School Managers Association, RSMA?
Shows up. Oh, good evening to Board President O'Kelly, to the board, to Dr. Avila, and cabinet and viewing audience. Yes, I showed up for RSMA. I just want to say we want to congratulate Mr. Armando Ortega regarding for Employee of the Quarter. This colleague of mine, he's been pretty much on the nomination list for about four times in a row, and he was well deserving. How he has brought his community together, his teachers, his staff. You noticed tonight how his clerk was recognized. So it says a lot about him and the way he represents Rialto Unified. And it's not just him, but it's several of our administrators. You notice that a lot of our administrators go a long way and do a great work here in Rialto. We wish that we could recognize them all, but like I said, you only have one per quarter. On behalf of RSMA and also our administrators, we want to thank Dr. Avila. We want to really thank you for listening to us and basically having our monthly meetings and listening to some of, I don't want to say concerns, but some of our day-to-day interactions that we have. You listen and you have followed through on what you say that you're going to do, and that shows a lot. Basically, our administrators are starting to realize that you're a man of your word, and that's one thing that we know. So if we come to you in confidence, we know that guess what? It's not going to get out to this school, from this principal to another principal or to another administrator. So we appreciate your confidentiality and things that you're doing here. With that said, I just want to say that to you, Dr. Avila, and let the board know that we're behind Dr. Avila as well. And so we also are working on our scholarships. We have approximately 79 members. We started real low with our membership, but we're gradually increasing our membership. We're at 79 currently, which is awesome. So we're still accepting funds for joining RSMA, especially to our new employees that's coming in. So I'll have an opportunity to reach out to them and have Mr. Osonde Guike, our Vice President of Membership, give them a call in regards to welcome, as well as I. So with all that said, I know I've said a lot. I really am short. I'm a short breath person. I don't speak a lot at length. But when I do speak, I have something to say. But but I want to say thank you, like I said, to all our administrators. Thank you for all your hard work and everything that you've done and your dedication. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we move to comments from the superintendent.
Just quickly, I'll condense my presentation. I really want to focus on one particular item. But first, I want to congratulate all the recipients of the quarter that were honored today. Thank you so much for all that you do for our kids, our district, and our community. Also want to recognize the Kiwanis Student of the Month who were honored on February 16th. We have Diane Gallardo and Martin Terrazas from Rialto High School. We have the Kiwanis Club of East Rialto Student of the Month as well. From Eisenhower High School, we had Alejandro Amaral and Waida Mansion. And from Carter High School, we had Alexandria Hall and Jose Covarrubias. I also want to let everyone know that I attended the District Science Fair, which was held on February the 18th, along with our board president, Ms. Nancy O'Kelly. Tremendous job in coordinating the event, great turnout, exemplary projects that were there. But wow, Rialto High School really dominated the high school category, so a special congratulations to the teacher, the students at Rialto High School. On February the 22nd, the Lions Club announced its first, second, and third place student winners for its 79th annual Student Speaker Contest. All three winners were from Carter High School, so congratulations to first place winner Junior Isaac Rubio, second place winner and student board member Senior Natalie Baca, and third place winner Senior Adrian Casillas. I also just want to take a brief moment to thank the staffs at Morris Elementary and J. Hugh Middle School, as well as the parents and the students. As you may or may not know, we had a power outage late last night that affected both schools. The staff was not aware of it until this morning when they arrived to the sites, but we did deploy a team of district office personnel to assist with the process. We did not close school. The teachers were very cooperative during this process, as well as the staff. Power was able to be was restored just before 10 o'clock. But I do want to thank the staff for adjusting to a real life Common Core opportunity that we had there. But it takes a team, obviously, to get through something like that. It's not an easy thing to do. It could easily go south if we choose not to cooperate during the process. But the parents, the staff, central office staff who were there, and especially the students who just kind of ran with the game plan that we had. I want to thank everybody during that process. We also, just a quick reminder, Frisbee Middle School will have its 50th anniversary on March the 16th at 5:30 p.m. at the school, and we hope that many of you will be able to join in the celebration of this very important milestone in the history of Frisbee. More information regarding the celebration is on the district website, and just so you'll know, we do have also the district is going to be celebrating its 125th birthday this year. So more information to come in the coming weeks and months regarding that festivity. And then Friday, we have one of our own being recognized. Dr. Janice Bush, who's an assistant principal at Dunn Elementary School, will earn a Black History Month Pioneer Award at Cal State San Bernardino. Thank you so much for promoting the spirit of collaboration and promoting the district within the larger community in the San Bernardino County. So thank you and congratulations, and we do plan to have a team attend the recognition to be there for support. And two quick things. One, I was invited to attend Rialto High School's professional development this past Wednesday. As been mentioned several times, the district is implementing PBIS district-wide, and Rialto High School is one of the schools that has really taken it to heart. We know that it's not something that's implemented overnight. It takes time. It's a huge shift in the mindset, going from traditional disciplining of students that includes punitive measures such as suspensions, timeouts, out-of-class suspensions, going home suspensions, and things of that nature, where PBIS really focuses on incentives. It focuses on positive attributes, recognizing the students. And it's hard for the adults. PBIS cannot be implemented if the adults don't buy into the system. It's not so much about the kids as much as it is about the adults. And so I really do want to thank district-wide. I believe that the majority of the staff is behind it. They want to support it. Rialto High School has taken the lead. And I want to thank the kids. There were a number of kids from the drama class who prepared some skits that they presented to the staff. And really the tone of the message was that these are not those kids. That kids they focus on truancy, and that the kids who miss school are not just kids who don't want to learn. These are kids who have challenges at home. These are kids who suffer from depression sometimes. These are kids who are bullied at school. These are kids whom staff unfortunately doesn't believe in them. So the message was that they do matter, they are important, they do want to learn, even if at that point in time they're not meeting the standards that the staff has set for them, and that really it takes the adult to connect with these kids in order to make sure that these kids are successful. So I wanted to shout out to the students and then the staff who were very engaged. The skits were prepared, but there were also testimonials that were built into the skits, and the stories behind each of those kids, and one staff member who presented her personal life story was so touching that many of the audience members were in tears at the end of that presentation. So thanks to the staff there for moving forward with PBIS. But also one story that I want to share, because it really captures the essence of many of the things that we want to do. So the board has also tasked me as a superintendent to create and implement, as part of one of my goals, to implement a collaborative leadership system built on respect and caring. And it's something that I believe I have come with, but the board wants this to be done district-wide. And so along those lines, we had a basketball game, an event between a school from Rim of the World High School, played Rialto High School. So now I'm reading a message sent from a parent from Rim of the World to our school here at Rialto High School. So Rim of the World High School played Rialto High School in a California JV basketball game last Thursday. A close game early, but Rialto pulled away and was leading by 25 points in the fourth quarter when Rim brought a substitute into the game named Robbie, who is a student manager of the team, who loves basketball, who has a disability in his leg that prevents him from running much faster than a jog. The Rim team worked to get him the ball to shoot a three. They did, but he missed it. It went back and forth like this. Time was called and both teams huddled. When Rim got the ball again, they passed to Robbie with 20 seconds left on the clock. He fired a three-pointer, but again, it just missed. Number 20, Waylon Anderson on Rialto, quickly crashed the board and hauled in an impressive defensive rebound with just seconds left on the clock. He turned and passed the ball to Robbie, who with just seconds left on the clock, he passed the ball to Robbie, who shot again from three-point range and made it. Wow. Both teams were celebrating. The gym was chanting Robbie's name as the team carried him off the floor. It all happened too fast to take a picture, but picture is just a random shot of the game. But never have I seen both teams so happy in a game decided by 27 points. Both coaches, RHS JV basketball coach Troy Holland and teams, demonstrated the true meaning of sportsmanship. Robbie later sent a group text to his team saying that was the best day of his life. If anyone has connections to Rialto High School, please forward this to the team.
Oh, that's cute.
So when Principal Ayala shared this message with me yesterday, it obviously brought me to tears. And it's a little bit difficult for me to even share it now, but again, this is something that was not planned. It's not something that I went up to the coach and the student to say, hey, by the way, my goal is to promote caring and leadership. It just came out during the course of the game so naturally. This is the kind of kid, this is the kind of coach, the kind of teams that we want to promote in our district, and that we want to graduate into the larger world to contribute in so many ways. So Rialto High School, once again, thank you for what it is that you do.
Thank you, Dr. Avila. And now we'll move on to
Two more quick things.
Oh.
So I have my kudos.
Sorry, it sounded like you were done.
My alumni kudos. We would like to take this opportunity to recognize Tristan Rivera Canlas, who has enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. Tristan is a recent graduate from Myler High School. Tristan was featured in this quarter's edition of the Myler Stampede, which is their new newsletter, first edition, published by their journalism class. And he has a passion to serve and protect our country, and we wish him the best in his endeavors to serve. So Tristan, congratulations. And lastly, again, my story from the little book with 50 big ideas. It says, a leadership lesson from Aesop. The goose and the golden egg. In the famous Aesop fable, a greedy couple who owned a goose that laid golden eggs killed the goose to harvest their bounty all at once. They butchered the source of their wealth but found no eggs. The moral of the story for real leaders: the golden eggs represent results. The goose represents the people and the system that produces the golden eggs, Nurture the goose by building better systems and growing your people. The golden eggs will come. How well are you caring for your goose? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Avila. Okay, now we move on to comments from board members. Let's start with Board Member Ayala.
Thank you, President O'Kelly. First of all, I'd just say, Dr. Avila, that's one of the most heartwarming stories I've heard in a long time with the basketball. It just, that's the kind of stuff that just really, I think, everybody rallies around. Excellent, excellent. Tonight, I'd like to spend some of my time speaking about the flu season, the cold season. I know. When is it wise to leave the house to go to work or go to school? You know, we have these different stages. I'm not a doctor, but my daughter's a nurse, and one of my best friends' wife teaches nursing. Plus, I have a cold myself. So what am I going to say? Well, first thing is you need to check your temperature. So if you have a temperature, then it's not wise to leave the house, because then you're probably contagious, okay? We have 26,000 kids here, and I hope the parents are paying attention here. And so if your child has a temperature, it's best to leave them at home. Keep in mind, we've made it through colds. It's not like it's the plague. But if you have a respiratory problem and you're sensitive to it, you're old or aged, it could be just a teacher that's aged sometimes, you know? I'm right there. I can say that. You know, we just need to be sensitive to our community. Okay, so now, since the flu season, the cold season is here, this is where the other recommendations: stock up with plenty of fruit. Okay, chop up some apples, chop up some strawberries, chop up some oranges, and have them in a chilled little container in the refrigerator, ready to go. You know, think ahead, be proactive, have plenty of juice available. Boxes of Jell-O, they're easy to make. Jell-O, you can put the fruit in there, very tasty. Okay, chicken soup sounds like it doesn't work. Well, you know, it's easy to go through the system. You can get the low sodium, some tasty crackers, and you're probably good to go. Okay, plenty of rest, and if you are achy, maybe a hot bath will help you, okay? So maybe an extra blanket at night if you got the chills. I know what I'm saying here. But there's a lot of us out here right now who are struggling through this cold. Okay, I'm at the last stage. I don't have a temperature. I almost called our president of the board, but I was okay. And I just wish everybody well, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to share a few words with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ayala. Board Member Montes.
Thank you. Well, let's see, where do we start here? Our student board member left early today, but I did want to congratulate her again for winning second place at the Rialto Host Lions Club Student Speaker Contest held Monday. It was the first round for our club. The winner, the first place winner, and the three students were from Carter High School, by the way. They did mention that they would like some more participation from some of the other high schools for maybe next year. It's the 79th annual Lions Club of California Student Speaker Contest, and students will be paid a total of $103,500. Different students from different clubs that attend different speaker contests, and the grand prize I think will be like $40,000. for the whoever makes it all the way. But the title of the student speaker contest was Liberty and Justice for All. What does it mean to you? So basically, at last night's Monday night's student speaker contest, the 3 students from Carter High School gave their 5-minute speech on what liberty and justice means to them. Personally, I think, not because I'm being biased, I think our student board members should have won, but that's just me. I wasn't one of the judges. But all 3 of the speakers were great. They all happen to be from the speech and debate class over there at Carter, and and then the teachers over there from that speech and debate class really do deserve some kudos, because they've been sending those high school students to high level competitions every year.
Right.
They're really gearing those kids up for speech and debate and public speaking. I also wanted to thank the district leadership for attending the February 11th academic decathlon. It's my understanding Dr. Avila couldn't be there. He had another event also, and he's still struggling with a flu. But I am really happy to see that the district leadership was able to represent our school district. So thank you guys. I also want to congratulate again tonight's employees of the quarter. It's always nice to receive recognition. We know a lot of people deserve it. Unfortunately, too bad we can't recognize everybody at the same time. But we can get them little by little. We can get them. I also want to remind everyone that Frisbee Middle School is going to be having their 50th anniversary on March 16th. A lot of the schools in our district have recently been celebrating 50th anniversary. I think last year it was Trapp. The year before that, I think it was, I want to say, over there on Merrill. Boyd. Boyd just recently celebrated their 50th. So being one of the school districts with longtime schools in the community, a lot of our schools are starting to get to that 50th anniversary mark, and I haven't been able to make it to all of them. I did attend Traps, but I really want to try to make it to Frisbee's 50th anniversary, and it's always nice to see longtime teachers and administrators from previous generations come back and be a part of these celebrations. Students that went to the schools there, students who have their kids now going there, and it's really nice to come together like that as a district and as a community for some of these schools. A lot of history. And then last but not least, I want to thank Saida and Ricardo for updating the Facebook world on what's going on at Rialto Unified School District. They've been doing a really good job at posting a lot of the things going on, a lot of the good things that are happening in the district. And I just want to comment on one of the particular stories they wrote about or shared with Facebook Landia. And it was in regards to the Superintendent's Quarterly Administrative Leadership Awards. I believe the superintendent recognized seven administrators. And I just want just to piggyback on everybody that's being recognized. I want to read out the names of those 7 administrators in the district that were recognized. I believe it was Dr. Janice Bush, it was Mr. Arnie Ayala, Mrs. Robin McMillan, Mr. Scott Sparks, Mrs. Linda Miner, Mrs. America Nieto, and Mrs. Beth Curtis. Is that correct? So, kudos to them, and keep up the good work. A lot of good things going on. Very excited about our special ed presentation and leadership. I want to thank everybody again, and I want to thank the parents and the people from the community that came up and spoke today. Some of the parents in here no more, but we understand we've got a lot of work to do. It's an ongoing process. Dr. Avila is not Superman, so he's not going to be able to fix everything in one day, but he's a really good superintendent, and we know that we're going to be moving forward little by little. Thank you. Buenas noches. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Montes. Board Clerk, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you, President O'Kelly. You know, there's just so much positive going on, and it's so refreshing because I listen to a lot of news since I'm retired, and all I hear is just Washington and the political this, and then the news tends to drag you down because they don't always give you the positive side. So when I hear someone like Linda Silva say that there are positives, that we still have to work on the trust, thank you for sharing that openly, because I know this board wants to work on it. I know the superintendent does. We'll get there. We'll get there. And if we don't, I've always said it, hold my feet to the fire, hold our feet to the fire. CWA, I'm sorry that we've missed it, that, you know, your picture isn't up there yet, Ron. but it'd be nice to recognize them. With everything going on, the one thing that I'm always paying attention to is technology and robotics. And I wanted to kind of give Washington a reality check. Not that they listen to us down here in Rialto, but you hear the political people from both sides and in the center say that they're going to bring back manufacturing jobs, that these jobs are in China and so forth. The problem with that is, this morning I look on Google, and actually it came on the news. It was, where is that? Google owns a company that the company's name is Boston Dynamics. Boston Dynamics is funded by DARPA, the government, and they came out with a new Atlas robot, 5'9", and when Washington says they're bringing back the manual labor jobs, that's what this robot is designed to do, the manual labor jobs. They have it picking up boxes. Look it up. It's wonderful, and yet it's not good for those who are counting on manual labor jobs. Those are jobs of the past, and I have to tell our students, because they're going to be living it within 20 to 50 years, you need to be prepared when you're adults to fix these robots, to program these robots, to design these robots, not do the same work the robot can do for free. So just encourage all young people to follow STEM or STEAM. STEAM adds the component of the arts, which is not a problem. But, you know, it's one of those things that I touched on it last time, whether you call it grit. In this article, they call it the robot has tenacity. It can do the same thing over and over again. You knock the thing over, it gets up. That's what our kids need to learn to do. That's what we as adults need to learn to do. When something knocks us down, we need to get up, and we need to get up infinitum amount of times, because that's what life brings sometimes. So be prepared to take the jobs of the future. Think with your head, earn with your brain, because the robots got the brawn all over us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. And Vice President Ms. Walker.
Thank you. Going to be quick, so I'm going to ditto everything everybody else said. Yay, yay. And anything future that will be said by Nancy, I'm dittoing that. And then just to really say, again, just great job, everybody. Highlight of my last 2 weeks since I was last here was yesterday. I was at a convening at Cal State San Bernardino around the status of education and equity in San Bernardino County, and they brought out statistics about how school districts are doing and individual, and they had these things all across, because they did an equity walk, so they had these boards all around the whole room, and you can look at the data based on schools and school districts. And we got to this one math statistic around third grade math, and the largest districts within how they were performing, and we were on there, and we were like the lowest district around math, third grade math. And the bad thing is, two things, because I always say another district is worse than us. I'm like, we can always blame somebody, oh, they're always the worst. And I looked at them like, oh my God, we're 1 point under them, so 1 percentage point under them. So that was like, I was like, oh my God. And people were putting tags on it, and I was like, oh my goodness, I feel like this is my district. What are we going to do? Then they went to another piece of the rest of the presentation and started talking about data and pulling out schools and everything. And they said, well, there is great hope in the county. There are some schools and places that are doing some really great things. And they highlighted about 10 to 12 schools across San Bernardino County that were doing some great things. And by golly, 2 of those schools were our schools. Morris Elementary School. And I can't remember exactly what the data point was, that Morris Elementary School in Rialto was outperforming and is a model to be replicated across the county. So Morris Elementary School, I had to look up while I pulled the iPad. I was like, who's the principal there? And then Carter High School, and I remember that statistic, which was they had the highest 95% of their seniors graduate with their cohort. 95%. That means when they started out, they end up with their same cohort. And that was Carter High School. So, and people were applauding because, high school, it's hard, so then by the time they got to that slide, people were actually like, yay, Rialto. And I'm like, yeah, okay, right here. I'm excited now, right? My face is turning into a frown. So I just frown turned into a smile. So I just want to say again, thank you, Rialto, for the great job you're doing. I know we've got some bright spots in our district, and all we have to do is find those nuggets, replicate them, do whatever, bring some new stuff on there. I know we can do it, and I'm very proud to be a board member. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. And love hearing news like that.
Yeah, it's like, whoa.
Well, I've had a fun weekend. Last Thursday, as Dr. Avila said, I attended the district science fair. It was held at Rialto Middle School, and I was so impressed with the quality and quantity of science projects there and the topics they chose. Some really creative, forward-thinking projects. These are kids, and they're thinking way ahead. I'd like to give a big shout out to Dr. Ed D'Souza and Executive Director Jen Harper and Juanita Chan and Executive Director Beth Curtis and Leonard Buckner for making it absolutely organized. It was fantastic, flowed smoothly, and it didn't take all night, so it was great. The next day, one of the great things about Science Fair, Veolia is the company that manages the water for Rialto. And they really partner with our schools and provide a lot of funding to help our kids do things. They were there, as they have been before, and they had scholarships. The high school students who received scholarships got $500 each. The middle school students got $200 each. The elementary students who won got $100 each. And in addition to that, there were gift cards and robot prizes and everything. It was really a lot of fun. Yes. And Myrna's daughter got a big trophy. It was beautiful. Well, the next day, Veolia partnered with our district again, and Dr. D'Souza and Juanita Chan helped form an education fair down at the Professional Development Center. And Veolia paid to have 450 fifth graders from 9 different schools bussed in. And they spent half a day going through different stations and learning all about water. I've learned so much about water, but and how it all works, and discussing water wasting and things like that with them. Each year that they did it last year too, and they have the students, part of the one station is they give them a topic, and they have to prepare a poster. And the poster contest, there's nice gift cards and prizes for that too. I brought the sample. This is their calendar for this year. And each of the months, is a different poster created by a student. Like this one says, "No water, no life." You know, I mean, they're just beautiful and really excellent. Save water, the world is in our hands. I love that one. So that's by the West Valley Water District and is available, I'm sure, to anyone who wants it. But I just thought, this is so impressive. And the kids were so into it. They had such a great time. And it was a very worthwhile event. So I hope we are going to make that an annual event for them. Then, while I was there, Veolia said they were hosting the conservation fair at the Rialto Senior Center the next day on Saturday. And so by now I'm just going to go work for Veolia. I went to check that out. And again, it was wonderful. I mean, they had different stations set up with a variety of topics, a variety of free giveaways. Home Depot was there with drought-resistant plants. They had everything you could think of, and I was really impressed. So it was a great 3 days and a great 3 events, and I'm very happy. I again want to congratulate all the employees of the quarter who were recognized tonight. But I am so excited to share this news that I just found out a few days ago from someone who's not even from this district, but they gave me a phone call because they knew I knew the person it applied to. I am very, very proud to announce that our very own Dr. Ed D'Souza will be receiving the Administrator of the Year Award, the Administrator of the Year Wilson Grace Leadership Award for AXA Region 12. And this award recognizes outstanding leadership both professionally and in the community. And I am very excited and proud that Dr. D'Souza is receiving it because I taught him everything he knows. I was Dr. D'Souza's mentor teacher when he came to Rialto. So congratulations, Ed. Very well, very deserving. And I think it's time to get on with the agenda.
10 o'clock.
Yes. Okay, let's move on. Public hearing, there is none. Consent calendar items. All items on the consent calendar will be acted upon in one motion unless pulled by Board of Education members or the superintendent for individual action. Do I have a motion to approve consent calendar items E through J?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Now we move on to discussion items. K1, approve filing an application with Southern California Edison for on-bill financing of up to $1 million to upgrade outdoor lighting fixtures with LED energy efficient devices for up to 24 schools and sites to supplement an energy expenditure plan EEP number 3.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 2, adopt resolution number 15-16-43 to approve an agreement with CalPERS, California Public Employee Retirement System, for the establishment of a pre-funding plan for other post-employment benefits, OPEB, in the California Employers Retirement Benefit Trust, CERBT program.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 3, adopt resolution number 15-16-44, authorizing the delegation of authority to request disbursements from the California Employers Retiree Benefit Trust, SERPT, program to the Associate Superintendent of Business Services and the Senior Director of Fiscal Services.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And 4, approve the establishment of Fund 71, Retirement Benefit Fund, to account for the activity in the California Employers Retiree Benefit Trust program.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And number 5 was pulled from the agenda, and number 6 was pulled from the agenda. Number 7, approve the recommendations of the administrative hearing panel, stipulated case number 15-16-19, and reinstatement of expulsion, case number 15-16-2. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion.
Oh, sorry. Discussion?
Yeah, just to understand on the stipulated, there's an agreement, but they're not separated out. So there's only one vote, and you'd be voting on both of them. So I just want to say I'm in favor of one and not in the other.
Okay.
Okay. So just on the
For
record.
the record, so that they can keep track of it, if you'd like
So-
to state which.
Okay. So I am in. Well, go ahead and when you call the vote.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then all in favor on the second one?
Aye.
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 And that's the one you have.
Off your nays.
Okay. All right. And then number 8, the Rialto Unified School District Board of Education votes for the following as delegates to the California School of Boards Association Delegate Assembly. Vote for no more than 7, which,
And there's 8 people.
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, I don't know any of these people, so.
I reviewed the packet and make the recommendation that we take the bottom 7 people.
The bottom 7?
Yes,
Is everyone in agreement with that?
I'm okay with that.
So I'm.
Other than Joyce Chamberlain Victor Elementary School District. Take the rest of them.
And that's just for your reasoning, why those?
I looked at it and I wasn't sure whether she was ready.
Oh, you know her?
No, I don't know her by what she'd written.
Oh, okay, that was in the
They
other
write
pack.
letters and
it said I'm willing to learn this and willing to learn that, and all others were on track. They were ready to do business. That's why.
Where was the packet?
I have it here.
They gave it to us.
It came with the Friday packet.
Okay.
And so my only would be that I would be in favor of the the Chamberlain from Victor ESD.
Okay.
A lot of the people are incumbents. I do know that, and I know that some of these are brand new people. And so with the intent of vision and new blood, I'm going for some folk who want to
Understood.
step in and be new. And so that would be one of them. So anyway, I was going from the top down.
The top 7?
Yeah.
So you're you're asking to remove Donna West, the bottom one?
This actually no, she was the top. Well, I'm looking at what.
Why don't we go, boy?
Okay.
One at a time. Joyce Chamberlain. Oh, that's the one?
For mine that I was removing.
Okay. So, she would like to remove Barbara Schneider as one of ours.
Okay. I'm okay with it.
Okay, so is everybody okay with everybody else?
Fine.
All right. So we're going to vote for Joyce Chamberlain, Nicole Childs, Barbara J. Dew, Kathleen Fort, Karen Paisani, Jane Dundas Smith, and Donna West. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. And
so moved.
First, tonight we would like to adjourn our school board meeting in memory of Mrs. Auralia Orozco, who worked in the Nutrition Services Department for 11 years until her retirement last July. Mrs. Orozco, who was a Rialto resident, succumbed to cancer on Saturday, February 13th. Her services were held last weekend. She leaves behind a husband, son, daughter, 2 grandchildren, and many loving relatives. Our hearts and thoughts are with the Orozco family during this difficult time. And could we please bow our heads for a moment in memory of Miss Orozco? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would also like to add the next board meeting will be on Wednesday, March 9th at 7 o'clock p.m. right here. Thank you.